Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto was trained in Harry Potter. Before I start, please support for more amazing content, and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Anonymous 4.0, link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. It was a peaceful morning in the hidden village of Konoha. The sun was slowly rising and the villagers started to wake up for a normal day of work. Well, everyone except our 12-year-old blonde hero, also called the demon brat, Naruto. He was currently on his way home after a normal early morning training in the forest. Thanks to the early hour, he didn't have to deal with a lot of insults or glares from the villager, and had all the time he wanted to talk to his only friend, in his mind. As weird as it can be, Naruto's only friend is the source of the villagers' hate toward him, the nine-tailed fox Kurama that is sealed in him. They were talking about the training Naruto did earlier as usual when they saw something not so usual waiting at Naruto's home. On the floor just in front of his door was a gray owl. And as if this wouldn't have been weird enough, the owl seemed to want him to take the letter that was on its leg. After taking the letter and opening it carefully, a habit he took because the only letters he ever got were trapped, and reading it, Naruto went from curious to confused before being completely pissed off. So that's how there was now an angry young Naruto going straight to the Hokage manor with an owl circling above his head. When he got to the manor, Naruto went without second thoughts to the Hokage's office despite the screams of protest of the secretary. "We need to talk, old man," exclaimed Naruto when he busted through the door of the office, giving the Hokage an interruption from a meeting with his advisors that he mentally thanked him for. "I'm sorry, Naruto, but I'm in a meeting, so can you?" The old ninja started with a smile but stopped when he saw the letter the boy was holding, its crest, and the owl that was sitting on his head, much to the kid's displeasure. "Of course, Naruto," he turned to his advisors, "we will continue this conversation later. For the moment I need to speak to Naruto, if you excuse us." The Hokage sent them a cold glare when they tried to protest that silenced them before they got out, sending glares at Naruto who couldn't care less about it. "So Naruto, how can I help you?" he asked with a smile. "Some jerk put this owl in front of my door with a letter saying I'm accepted in a wizard school. Seriously, how dumb does they think I am? Everyone knows that magic is just a fairy tale that parents tells their children," he exclaimed, his voice going down on the last part, making the Hokage cringe, but he recomposed himself. "Naruto, what I am going to say might seem difficult to believe, but magic is real." There was a tense silence before Naruto's outburst. "Yeah, right, if magic exists, why I haven't seen it before?" he asked, thinking he had won the argument, but "Maybe I will be a better choice to explain that if you don't mind," said a new voice behind Naruto, making him jump back instinctively in front of the Hokage with a kunai drawn. He saw the intruder, an old man with a long purple robe, glasses the shape of a half-moon, a twinkle in the eyes, and with a white beard that went down to his waist. The intruder and Sarutobi smiled at Naruto, who seemed ready to defend the Hokage. "You can put away your weapon, Naruto, I know him. I expected to see you since he had this letter," Sarutobi said. Naruto looked between his pseudo-grandfather and the supposedly not intruder before putting back his kunai. "I thank you for putting your weapon away, Naruto. Let me present myself. I am Albus Percival Wulfric Brian Dumbledore. It's a pleasure to meet you," the stranger said while extending his hand. Naruto shook it warily. He noticed that the man was stronger than his appearance lets out, but not enough for a ninja to worry. But he was sure that Albus was powerful in his own way. The Hokage couldn't help but to feel a bit proud and a bit sad that Naruto seemed to analyze Dumbledore. Proud because it is an important skill for a ninja, but also sad because it wasn't the academy, but how he was treated in his life that taught him that, unknown to him, Dumbledore had similar thoughts. "Nice to meet you too, old man," Naruto said with a smile that Dumbledore, to his surprise, returned. This smile, it's not forced, and he looks at me as if he's happy I'm here. Apart from old man Hokage, nobody looked at me like that, Naruto thought. "What do you think, Kurama?" "Trust me, listen to what they have to say," the demon fox replied. "Okay then." Naruto looked at Dumbledore. "You said that you would explain the letter, and why I haven't seen magic if it exists, right?" "Of course, the reason you haven't seen magic in the elemental countries is because the use of chakra seems to negate the flow of natural magic in your bodies, meaning that extremely few people in the history of the elemental countries were able to use magic, and nobody used chakra outside your country." Naruto nodded in understanding. "Wait, you said there were extremely few people that could use magic here in all our history. How many are we talking about? Thousands? Hundreds?" asked Naruto. "Actually, you are the 10th person in the history to have this gift. Naruto, you are a wizard." "I'm a what?" Naruto had his mouth open in shock. In all the history of this country there were only 9 people with this gift before him. A wizard, him? It had to be a joke. "So for the letter, I suppose you are the headmaster of this school," he said. "Exactly, you will learn all about magic here, if you accept, of course. Truth to be told, you should have had this letter last year, but my old friend right here had hidden you very well, Dumbledore said. Well, of course, he is the Hokage, you know, Naruto exclaimed, bringing a smile to the two old men, but Naruto wasn't finished. But seriously, I have trouble believing you, it seems too unreal. I will need a proof that magic is real. Dumbledore's smile grew wider at that as he began to take his wand out. With pleasure, see this chair, Naruto? The whiskered boy nodded. The chair had nothing special until the old wizard pointed his wand at it, transforming it in a cloud of butterflies. Naruto was in awe. After Kurama assured him that he was not in a genjutsu, he had his answer: magic is real, and he will be able to learn it too. But I believe you, magic is real, but I have one question left. And what will that be? If I accept to go to your school, will I have to quit being a ninja, to abandon my dream to be Hokage one day? If this is a choice I have to do, I will choose to be a ninja, you know, Naruto exclaimed with a determined look in his eyes, making the two old men to smile at him again. You will still be able to be a ninja, Naruto, right, Hiruzen? Dumbledore said while giving a knowing smile at the Hokage. Of course, I will give you scrolls for you to train with, so don't worry, your place as a shinobi of Konoha will be kept, the old ninja told Naruto, who seemed happier than ever at this. Then I accept to go to this school, he said excitedly. Good, for the moment we will go to buy what you will need while Sarutobi prepares those scrolls, Dumbledore said with a smile. Naruto was going excitedly to the door but turned around confused as to why the old wizard wasn't coming. We will not go by normal means of travels, he said before pulling his wand again and motioning Naruto to come closer. He extended his hand that Naruto took, but before they can go, the Hokage interrupted him. Naruto, it would be wise to let your headband here while you're in the wizard world. You will have to hide that you are a ninja in their world, understood? As much as Naruto wanted to protest, he understood why. Since both worlds have powers that the other doesn't have, it will create envy, and in the end a war might start. So he did as he was told with a pout on his face that he didn't manage to hide, much to the amusement of both wizard and ninja, before he got back to Dumbledore and took his hand. What happened next, Naruto could only describe it as torture. The world was shrinking and spinning around them, light and shadows mixed together. He had the sensation that he was squished. There was no sound nor smells in this space, and that was disturbing because of his enhanced senses he had because of the QB. And then it ended as suddenly as it started. They ended in an old cobblestone alley, Dumbledore slightly floating in the air before landing, but not Naruto. As soon as he crashed on the ground, he curled up, the sounds and the smells assaulting him. He never felt as bad as now, except for the time where he was covered in blood after some villagers tried to kill him. He had to go to the hospital despite his healing abilities given by Kurama. Dumbledore looked at the sorry, trembling mass that he guessed was Naruto with an apologizing look. I'm sorry, Naruto. I forgot that the first time a person appariates is not pleasant, he said in a soft voice. They spent some time waiting for Naruto to feel better, which he did pretty quickly considering the state he was in. He analyzed quickly his surroundings before asking where they were. We are in London, in the Muggle part of it. What's a Muggle? They are a non-magical person. Ninjas would be considered Muggles since they can't use magic, even though they are far from ordinary Muggles, he answered before heading toward an old broken-down shop. Naruto noticed that they seemed to be the only ones to see it, so he supposed it was hidden by magic. When they entered, Naruto stopped to look at his surroundings. More people with weird robes and the shop that seemed better on the inside than the outside. Once he realized that Dumbledore was going on without him, he ran to catch up to him in the back of the shop, in front of a brick wall. Before he could ask, the old wizard had his wand out and tapped the bricks in a counterclockwise motion around a hole in the wall. The bricks started to move away from the center, revealing an alley full of people in weird dress. Wizards, he guessed, walking in different shops. Naruto gasped at the sight and turned around frantically, analyzing his surroundings once more. Shops selling clothes, animals, weird plants and objects, even brooms. Thought he had no idea why they displayed brooms like that. Dumbledore watched him, amused at his reaction, especially the confused look he had when he saw brooms displayed at some shop's front, before talking again. Welcome to Diagon Alley, one of our little pieces of the magical world hidden in the Muggle one. There every wizard can buy everything they can need for every need they have, he exclaimed, catching Naruto's interest. So I will be able to buy the things on the list here? Dumbledore nodded, but Dumbledore-sensei, I don't have any money of your world, Naruto stated while following Dumbledore. And that's why we are going to Gringotts, our bank and the safest place in the wizard world, except Hogwarts, Dumbledore said with a reassuring smile, making Naruto nervous. But I don't have an account in this bank. We are going there to create you one. No! Dumbledore looked at him, confused by his outburst. I don't want my money in a bank, he exclaimed. But why don't you want to? I'm going to give you a decent amount of money and it will be safer in a bank, Dumbledore stated, not understanding the boy. Because the bank back home never gave my money back, he answered. Then I assure you that I will personally make sure they give you your money back, and if ever they don't, then just tell me and I'll help you, I promise. Really? Naruto asked. When the professor nodded, he finally agreed, and after a quick trip to Gringotts to deposit some money and give Naruto a new account and his discovery of goblins, they went out and Dumbledore gave Naruto a good amount of money, saying that he will come back later because he had some work to do and that Naruto should start to buy what he will need. Naruto didn't complain about being alone to buy his stuff. It was a good opportunity to explore this place. Dumbledore also explained to him their money system, so there should be no problem, right? That's what he thought when he started to walk around until he saw a bushy brown-haired girl crying and a black-haired boy in front of her who were obviously bullying her. Having been bullied all his life, he didn't think twice before going towards them. You filthy mudblood shouldn't be allowed in our community. You will only stain our purity, said the boy with an arrogant voice before a blonde-haired boy with blue eyes, whiskered birthmarks appeared in front of him. I don't know what you said means, but it's obviously insults. Stop bullying her, he said, making the black-haired boy angry. Who was this guy to tell him what to do? At him, a pure blood. The girl looked up to look at the person who was helping her. And what will you do if I refuse? Asked the arrogant boy smugly. I'll arrange a meeting with your face and the ground, Naruto answered confidently. The boy in front of him had no idea that he could easily do that while keeping hidden the fact that he was a ninja. This of course infuriated the boy, who tried to punch Naruto, who easily blocked it before punching him in the chin, controlling his strength as to not knock him out in one punch as it might be suspicious, and used the fact that it made him unbalanced to sweep his legs that made him fall, his face hitting the floor. The black-haired boy got up with some difficulty, and the girl looked impressed at the fact that he took out a boy that looked tough in 2 moves. If you don't want more, go away, Naruto said coldly. You bastard, said the boy, humiliated in front of passerby who stopped to see what was happening, before going away. The little crowd that gathered scattered, and Naruto turned to the girl, who stopped crying and had a small smile on her face. Are you alright? He asked. The girl nodded. I'm Uzumaki Naruto, and you? Hermione Granger, thanks for your help, she answered. No need to thank me, it's normal to help in these situations, he said casually. Are you alone? No, my parents are in the bookshop, she answered. Oh, so it's your first year, like me, he said excitedly, making Hermione's smile grow larger. You're getting to Hogwarts too this year? You bet. I only learned that magic exists today, thought Hermione was shocked at that. But the letter should have arrived in the beginning of July. The term starts in 2 weeks. How is it possible? Well, I guess the owl had some troubles to find me, he answered nervously. By the way, what did this guy meant when he called you mudblood, if you don't mind me asking? It's okay, a wizard can come if the 2 parents are wizards. What he called pure blood, if one of the parents is a wizard or a witch, that he would call a half-blood, and finally a wizard can be from 2 muggles with no magical backgrounds. It's what he called a mudblood. But mudblood is a horrible insult to all witches and wizards. The official term is muggle-born witch or wizard. It's what I am, a muggle-born, she explained, but to her surprise Naruto seemed confused by her explanation, a thing that never happened before. I don't understand, how is that important? I mean, a witch will still be a witch and a wizard no matter where they come from, right? Most wizards think this way, but some thinks that purebloods should be the only ones to access to the wizarding schools. They call wizards that live with a muggle blood traitor and thinks that muggle-born should not be allowed to learn magic. Basically a bunch of bastards, Naruto simply said, making Hermione laugh at how he resumed the situation. By the way, where are your parents? She noticed the sadness in his eyes when she asked. I don't have any. Old man Dumbledore came to bring me here. She nearly fell over at that. Dumbledore brought you here? She asked in disbelief. Yeah, why is this so shocking? He asked. After a long, detailed explanation of who Dumbledore was, Naruto had even more respect for him. When she finished, he told her that he should get by what was on his list, only to have Hermione dragging him towards the library, saying that she just started to buy her stuff and that her parents wouldn't mind if he came with them. Naruto was nervous upon meeting her parents because of how he was treated in the village, but discovered that they were really kind. He bought his books plus 1 other on magical creatures because he was interested in the subject, much to Hermione's amusement because of his birthmark whiskers that gave him an animalistic appearance. They went to buy potions, ingredients, a pewter cauldron, and other things they needed. Naruto never had that much fun in his life and couldn't help but to consider Hermione a friend. They went in the animal shop to buy a familiar. Naruto felt uneasy when he saw all the caged animals but went in. There were owls, cats, frogs, rats, and tons of other birds. One in particular caught his interest. It was a beautiful bright red bird. When it saw him, the bird chirped and spread its wings. When Naruto approached and put a finger through the cage, the bird pushed its head on it too, wanting to be stroked, a wish he happily fulfilled. Naruto jumped a bit when he heard a voice behind him. Well, this is unusual. He turned around to see the vendor. What's unusual? The vendor pointed to the bird Naruto was still stroking. Usually she ignores anybody that comes in the shop. She is a phoenix, and like all of her kind, she is extremely proud and will only serve those with a pure and heroic heart. She must have made a mistake, but the phoenix chirped in protest as if she understood everything. Be careful, because they are extremely intelligent creatures, and I don't think she will let you say otherwise, he said with a slight chuckle. Are you going to buy her? Normally it will be very expensive, but since you're a kid and I doubt that she will choose somebody for a few hundreds of years, I'll sell her to you for 15 galleons. I'd love to buy her, Naruto exclaimed without hesitation. After he paid, the vendor was going to take a cage, but Naruto stopped him. The cage won't be necessary. You're sure? Naruto nodded. Okay then. While we are waiting for your friend other there to find her happiness, let me tell you a few things about phoenixes. The vendor said to Naruto, while his new phoenix went on his shoulder, making him smile. They are extremely loyal creatures that will never betray their master. When they die, they burn themselves to be reborn from the ashes. Their tears have healing powers that no wounds or poisons can resist, and they can carry heavy loads that exceeds the strength of 10 strong men and still be able to fly correctly. Naruto looked at his new companion on his shoulder in awe. Such a beautiful and incredible creature had chosen him for master? It was unbelievable, but yet, he thought the same thing about magic this morning, so he will just have to accept all of it, even if it is so surprising. A few moments later, Hermione and her parents came back to take the vendor, and they soon got out, Naruto with his phoenix and Hermione with the ginger-colored cat she called Crookshanks. They then made their way to Ollivander's wand shop. So Naruto, what are going to name your phoenix? Naruto thought for a moment before looking at said bird. How do you like Amaterasu? The phoenix chirped happily, content of the name, but Mr. Granger, who was leading the way, turned around curious. Does it mean something in Japanese? Yes, Amaterasu is the name of a goddess of the sun, he said while petting Amaterasu. They talked for a short while after that before finding the shop. When they got in, they saw that the shop was slightly dusty and filled with boxes and an old man at the desk. Good afternoon, the man said as he stands up, showing wide pale eyes shining like moons, and that reminded Naruto of a certain girl who stalked him back at Konoha. I suppose you are coming for a wand? Well, obviously Naruto thought, but he only nodded along with Hermione. As you probably guessed, I am Ollivander. I'm Uzumaki Naruto. Hermione Granger. Pleased to meet you, young wizards, Ollivander said while shaking their hands. Well then, let's start finding you your wand. What is your wand's hand? He asked. My what? Naruto asked. Your writing hand, explained Hermione. I'm right-handed, she answered. Me too, said Naruto before Ollivander grabbed a box, seemingly at random, before presenting it to Hermione. Ladies first, try this one, beechwood and dragon heartstring, 9 inches. Give it a wave, nothing happened. No, not this one. Maybe. Ollivander gave her another wand. Nothing happened. After several wands and a few pots destroyed, he came back with another wand. Vine wood, heartstring core, 10.5 inches this time. When Hermione took the wand, there was a soft gush of wind. Ah, it seems like we found your wand at last. It will be 7 galleons, Ollivander said. Her parents paid the wand and the old man turned toward Naruto. Now let's see which wand will be yours, Mr. Uzumaki. 45 minutes later. Naruto and Ollivander had their head on the desk, crying anime style while Amaterasu's sweat dropped. They were alone since after 15 minutes where Ollivander passed more and more wands to Naruto and the shop furniture breaking, the Grangers decided that it was safer to wait for Naruto at the clothes shop. Why is it so difficult to find a wand that accepts me? Naruto whined. In the time he spent with Ollivander, he learned that it was the wand that chose the wizard and not the other way round, but they used nearly all the type of wands the shop had. Ollivander suddenly went up, surprising Naruto. Maybe, he said before going at the back of the shop, moving a piece of the wall to reveal a safe in which he took a wand box that was tightly sealed. He opened it carefully and took the wand in it, which was covered in a cloth. Naruto was confused of all the precautions Ollivander took when he presented him the wand. It was a beautiful wand that went in a swirl from the handle, brown that breathed of life mixed perfectly with in deep black that reminded the darkness of death, giving the wand an ethereal aspect. Ollivander motioned for him to take it, a mix of fear and hope in his eyes. When Naruto grabbed the wand, he felt as if warmth went through his body, touching his soul itself, and a golden and dark light surrounded Naruto in a spiral. Very interesting indeed, said Ollivander. Naruto looked at him puzzled. What is? He asked. You see, Mr. Uzumaki, this wand was created in ancient times and never found its wizard. It was passed down from maker of wands to another along with what it was composed at, 11 inches, wood from the tree of life itself, and for core the Sessho Seiki, also called the stone of killing, the stone of death. The mix of life and death make this wand the most powerful one in the world, so powerful that once it was created no one could destroy it no matter the means they used. Why would they want to destroy a wand they created? Because, Mr. Uzumaki, before you all of those who grasped this wand ended drained of their forces, some were brought to an inch from death, and the only reason they lived is from the power of the tree of life that reside in this wand. Naruto was shocked. And you made me try it? He exclaimed. What if it didn't choose me? Then I would have taken it away from you at the first sign of rejection from the wand. Naruto looked at his wand. It is not clear why a wand choose a wizard, Mr. Uzumaki, but I am sure of one thing, you will do great things in the future, good or bad I do not know, but great, Ollivander said while Naruto was still recovering from what he learned. It seemed that we finally found you your wand. It will be 7 galleons. Naruto paid and made his way toward Madame Malkin's shop with Amaterasu, who looked at him worriedly. Seems like your wand is as troublesome as the master it chose, said the dark voice of Kurama. Oh come on, I'm not bringing people at an inch from death just by touching them. When listening to the villagers at Konoha it doesn't seem like it. It's true. They treat me like a monster, like they would treat you, stated Naruto. But you know, there was once a 7-year-old kid who told me that it was better to be a monster than a fowl that treat badly those they do not understand and they call monsters. I think you could take a bit from him. Yeah, I think I know him, but he was only able to discover that because of a kind giant fox who was consumed by hate that was sealed in him. Shut up, damn brat. But he still doesn't know how to take compliments, though, he added while laughing, only to stop when he saw a confused Hermione looking at him with worry. In his mental conversation he didn't realize he arrived at Madame Malkin's shop. Are you all right? Asked Hermione, making Naruto blush in embarrassment. He looked at the floor while rubbing the back of his head. Yeah, just remembered something funny. I saw there was an awkward silence before a voice spoke. Hogwarts, dear? Naruto turned to the owner of the voice, a squat, smiling woman, and nodded. Before he followed her he was stopped by Hermione. I'm sorry, Naruto, but I have to go. We don't live exactly near, so I'll see you in 2 weeks then, she said, a bit unsure. Well, of course, we're going to the same school, you know, Naruto exclaimed with a big smile that made Hermione blush a bit. They said a quick goodbye before Naruto went to buy his clothes. He was paying Madame Malkin, who he discovered as a very kind woman. When Dumbledore came back they went back in Konoha the same way they came, much to Naruto's displeasure. Sarutobi was working on his never-ending paperwork. He hoped Naruto had a better day than him. With the usual paperwork he also had to deal with his advisors and the council who wanted to raise the shop prices for Naruto, again, before the Hokage told them that as a leaf ninja he was now one of the protectors of the village and should have the same prices than anybody else. He still had to threaten them when they tried to protest though. He was in his thoughts when he felt a soft gust of wind. He looked up only to have his jaw drop at the sight. Naruto was dressed in a black robe, white shirt, jeans and his usual black combat boots. The change was radical, but he had to admit he looked better than in his usual all-orange attire. But what attracted his attention was the beautiful red bird on his shoulder, and the bright smile on his face. A real smile he saw too rarely on the boy's face. I suppose that you bought everything you need for school, the old ninja said with a smile. Naruto nodded excitedly. Listen, Naruto, it will be better if you leave all your stuff here until you have to go in 2 weeks, the Hokage said, and to his surprise Naruto didn't protest but only asked for his headband back. When he put back his headband he told his bird to wait here until he can go to Hogwarts and left. Sarutobi was stunned by that. He expected Naruto to protest loudly, especially for having to leave his pet here. Naruto went back to his home and went straight to his bed, lying down with a sigh. In 2 weeks he will have to say goodbye to this village. His place in a team will be taken by somebody else, and he was sure villagers will throw parties when they'll learn that he was abroad studying. But on the other hand he was going to a school to learn magic. A school far away where no one knows he is the container of a great beast and probably don't even know what is a great beast except Dumbledore. He will be able to make some friends, thing that was impossible for him here. He couldn't wait for the day of departure to come. Naruto woke up extra early. It was the day and he had a lot to do before he went to Hogwarts, so first, his morning training with the help of Kurama, next eating at Ichiraku with Iruka for the last time for a few months, then get his stuff together, which went quickly since he didn't have much, just a few pair of clothes and the scrolls the Hokage prepared for him. He went to the Hokage's manor, and what he saw there nothing in the world could have had prepared him for that. When he went in the old ninja office, he saw him trying to strangle himself with a black piece of fabric over a black uniform he wore. "What the hell are you wearing, old man?" The Hokage turned to him with a smile. "This, Naruto, is some clothes that the people wear where we are going. Dumbledore sent some for you too, so go get changed." He didn't need to say it twice as Naruto immediately went to see his new clothes. After all, it wasn't often he had presents, more like extremely rare. He opened his brand new trunk that were apparently part of his present, and saw his clothes, a white t-shirt, blue jeans and a black sweatshirt with a hood. After he quickly changed his clothes, the Hokage reminded him that he should hide the fact that he is a ninja in the wizard world and did a checkup of his belongings to see if he hadn't forgotten anything before he brought Naruto's phoenix in the office. Naruto and Amaterasu were in the middle of their reunion when a beautiful silver pocket watch with a fox engraving on it appeared in a small gust of wind. "Naruto, we don't have much time left. Gather your stuff and at my signal grab this watch," Sarutobi explained, knowing that there wasn't much time left before the port key was activated. Naruto obeyed and kept his hand just above the pocket watch, looking in the eyes of the Hokage. The moment to take the watch came and Naruto was brought again in a strange world. They were spinning in the air while the world spun in the opposite way. It was a different sensation than what Dumbledore called appariting and not as horrible. There were still smells and sounds even if they mixed weirdly. When it stopped, Hiruzen floated lightly before landing while Naruto landed less gracefully but managed to keep his footing. As promised by Dumbledore, Hiruzen found the place deserted of people. "So Naruto, what platform do we have to go to?" he asked the blonde ninja, wizard and prankster. Platform 9 3/4, he answered, but when they looked they found platform 9 and 10, but not 9 3/4. Naruto started to panic when he saw on the pocket watch that he kept to give back to Dumbledore that the train was going to leave soon. Hiruzen thought that it was a joke of his old friend and that he would appear with his usual smile and twinkle in the eyes until he saw a black-haired boy going through the wall between platform 9 and 10, quickly followed by a red-haired boy. He motioned to Naruto to follow him before going toward a woman who he guessed was the mother of the redhead he just saw. "Excuse us, but is this the way to platform 9 3/4? This boy is going for his first year, so we are a bit lost," explained Hiruzen. The woman smiled at Naruto. "Well, it is a pleasure to help you. To find the platform, just walk straight in the wall. My name is Molly Weasley, and she is Ginny. She will go to Hogwarts next year," the woman said, presenting a girl who tried to hide herself under Naruto's gaze and bright smile. "I'm Hiruzen Sarutobi, and this boy is Naruto Uzumaki. Thank you for your help. We should get going before the train leaves without him," the Hokage thanked, but Ginny raised an eyebrow in confusion. "You are not part of his family? You have different names," she stated, but immediately regretted it when she saw the look on their face. "It's a long story, but in short, I don't have any parents and the old man is bringing me today," Naruto answered with a slightly strained smile, making Ginny regret what she said even more. "Sorry." "Don't be, it's normal you would ask." "Let's go then," he answered cheerfully before going through the wall, followed by Hiruzen. Naruto froze a bit at the sight of the train. It was the first time he would ride something like that and was a bit impressed by it. Hiruzen broke him from his trance and helped him putting his baggage away before they had to say goodbye, which was harder than what they thought it would. Now Naruto was left with the difficult quest of finding a place to sit down. He never expected this to be so hard. Every compartment so far were full or the people were waiting for their friend. The weird thing was that many girls blushed or giggled when he passed, a thing that never happened in Konoha, and he wondered why the witches had those type of reaction around him. He was thinking that he will spend his travel trying to find a place when he saw a compartment with only two boys, a dark-haired and green eyes behind glasses boy and a red hair with blue eyes and freckles. "Can I come in? All the other compartments are full." The two boys turned to look at the owner of the voice, a blonde-haired boy with bright blue eyes and blue jeans and a black sweatshirt with the hood down and open, revealing a white t-shirt that didn't conceal the muscular body of the boy. The boy also had strange birthmarks on his cheeks that were shaped like whiskers, but oddly, they suited him. "Of course," answered the black-haired boy. Naruto had a bright smile on his face. As he sat down, he noticed a lightning-shaped scar on the green-eyed boy's forehead. "I'm Naruto Uzumaki, by the way. Ron Weasley." Harry Potter. Now Harry was expecting the boy to recognize him like Ron, but Naruto just asked, "How did you get that scar?" Ron was staring at him as if he had a second head. "Didn't you hear him? It's Harry Potter," he exclaimed. "Yeah, I heard his name, but how is it supposed to tell me how he got that scar?" "You don't know who I am?" Harry sighed in relief. "Don't worry about it. I didn't know how I got this scar until I discovered magic recently, and apparently I'm famous," he said. Ron then explained what he knew of Harry's story. Harry looked embarrassed that somebody knew his story better than him, and Naruto saw that he would have traded his fame with his parents any time. he knew that feeling very well and immediately took a liking to him and Ron. "Well, you know how I got my scar, and you, why do you have those?" "They look like whiskers," Harry said. Naruto just smiled. "No idea. As weird as it may sound, I was born like that. I never knew my parents either and heard about magic for the first time 2 weeks ago." "No way!" exclaimed Ron. They talked for a while and brought tons of sweets that Harry and Naruto never heard of and were happy to discover. In them was all flavors sweets, and Naruto was lucky enough to not have anything horrible and chocolate frogs that escaped Harry but didn't pass Naruto, and his reflexes that impressed Ron and Harry. "Hey, I learned a spell that is supposed to turn my rat yellow. Want to see?" asked Ron. Naruto and Harry nodded excitedly, eager to see some magic. Ron raised his wand when the door of their compartment opened. A bushy brown-haired girl Naruto knew well enough. "It's good to see you again, Hermione," he said with a smile that Hermione shared when she saw him. "Good to see you too. Have you guys seen a toad?" A boy named Neville lost it. They shook their head when she noticed that Ron's wand was out. "You're doing magic?" "Let's see it then." Ron was taken aback. "Air, all right," he muttered. "Sunshine, daisies, buttermellow, turn this stupid fat rat yellow." Nothing happened. "Are you sure that's really a spell?" "Well, it's not very good, is it? Of course, I've only done simple ones myself, but they all worked for me." Naruto looked at her. "Don't be mean, Hermione. We are all going to Hogwarts to learn, right? Plus, I'm sure you're the only one who learned by heart all the books we had to get," he said. Ron looked at him in confusion. "How do you know she did that?" "Because I told him I would," she answered. "I'm Hermione Granger, by the way. And you?" "Ron Weasley," he said with his mouth full, and Hermione couldn't stop the slightly disgusted look it gave her. "Harry Potter," she looked in shock. "Are you really? I read all about you and how you know who couldn't kill you." "Yeah, people seem to know more about my life than myself," he answered, a bit annoyed by this. "Sorry, I didn't mean to." "Well, you should get changed. I expect we will be arriving soon," she said. And Naruto, she liked her thumb before rubbing it on the corner of his lips. "You've got chocolate here," she said as Naruto stared at her in shock. She left quickly when she realized what she did, giving them a "see you later" before she disappeared in the corridors. Naruto blushed crimson red when she left, making Ron and Harry laugh at him. "Please don't say a word about that, guys," he pleaded. They agreed after several minutes of laughing. When they got out of the train, Harry led them in front of a giant of a man. Ron couldn't suppress his surprise, and Naruto understood why. This man, who he learned was called Hagrid, brought the first years to a lake where boats were waiting for them. They had to go in groups of 4. The ones on the boat were Harry, Ron, Naruto, and Hermione, who sit next to him, bringing a small blush on their faces after what happened in the train. Everybody were talking excitedly about what they would learn or about the magical world in general for those who wasn't raised in it, until they saw what must be the most beautiful castle they ever saw. The full moon shined over it, and making it look as if it was out of a fairy tale. Naruto's mouth fell in shock. "A castle is a school? And they will live in it?" "Not possible," he would have said, but that was also what he thought about magic, so he decided that impossible doesn't have any meaning. When they arrived in the castle, they were brought in front of 2 huge doors where an old woman wearing a green robe and a witch hat was waiting for them. "Welcome to Hogwarts," she said, her voice echoing through the halls, assuring that everyone could hear her. "Now in a few moments you will pass these doors to be sorted in different houses." Naruto looked at Harry, Ron, and Hermione, hoping they won't be separated. "They are Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin. Now while you are here your houses will be like your family." Naruto smiled at that. A family. The most simple thing in the world, that everyone think is a given and that he never had. Your success will win your house's points, but any rule breaking and points will be taken from your house. The house with the most points at the end of the year will be attributed the house cup, a great honor. She was going to continue when she was interrupted by a shout of Trevor and a slightly round brown-haired boy rushing to catch his frog. The boy excused himself under the hard gaze of the woman. "The sorting ceremony will begin shortly," she said. All the first years were talking about what the sorting ceremony would be like, and if they would be tested, bringing stress to some of them. Naruto was talking to Harry and Ron. Hermione went to talk to girls she met in the train, when they were interrupted by a voice. So it's true, what they said in the train. Harry Potter came to Hogwarts. Everybody went silent as the 3 friends turned to the one who spoke, a boy with pale, white blonde hair flanked by bigger boys their age. "This is Crabbe and Goyle," he said, pointing to the boys flanking him. "And I'm Malfoy. Draco Malfoy," he announced as if they should be impressed by his name. Ron suppressed a chuckle by coughing. Malfoy looked at him with disdain. "You think my name is funny? No need to ask you yours. Red hair, second-hand clothes and freckles on your face. You must be a Weasley." Ron looked at the ground, humiliated, and Naruto had to use a good amount of self-control to not knock this guy out for insulting his friend before Draco turned to Harry. "You will soon find out that some wizarding families are better than others. You don't want to hang out with the wrong sort." I can help you with that, he said while extending his hand, showing to Harry with who he wanted to hang out, and that was the red hair and the blonde whiskered wizards next to him. I think I can decide who the wrong sort is myself, answered Harry. Draco paled a bit more and seemed ready to say something but was interrupted by the woman in green coming back. Follow me was all she said, and follow her they did, straight to an enormous hall. The first years looked around in awe, for really long tables were in it, each of them with a lot of teenagers of different ages at them. But what took Naruto's attention was the ceiling, or the seemingly lack of it. He could see the stars clearly, bringing a smile on his face. He always loved to look at the stars to relax after a hard day, so he looked at them very often in the village. He heard Hermione explain to somebody that the ceiling was enchanted to look like that, but he didn't really pay much attention on it as he saw the old, green robe-wearing woman with an old hat next to her. He nearly fell over when the hat started to sing but quickly got over it. After all, everything seemed possible with magic. When the song ended, he wondered in which house he will be. Ravenclaw was out of the picture for obvious reasons. Even if it hurt a bit to admit it, it left him with the 3 remaining houses. The old woman started saying names and the hat chose them houses. Ron and Hermione went in Gryffindor. There were a big silence when Harry's name came, and after a while the hat put him in Gryffindor. Now he really wanted to be in there. Naruto Uzumaki, she called at last. He was the last one to go, so he had the same attention than Harry, not stressful at all. He sits down, and the old woman put the hat on his head. Another difficult one, said a voice in his head. He wasn't startled this time. Seeing how the others reacted every time the hat was placed on their head, he expected something like this to happen. Can you hear me? Why, yes, of course. Yes, very interesting. I sense ambition, a hard-working spirit, bravery, and a tremendous power within you. And wait, what is that? The hat asked. Naruto's eyes widened as he realized he probably found Kurama in him. Don't mind him, he's somebody sealed in me, not me. The choosing hat was confused about the calm reaction of Naruto, as if having a beast this powerful inside him was nothing really important, but didn't say anything. He knew he shouldn't have gone too deep in the boy's mind. Well, I think I know where to put you in Gryffindor. He yelled the last part. The students applauded as Naruto went to sit near Harry and Ron. Everybody talked happily for a while until Dumbledore asked for silence, which he got nearly immediately. First of all, I would like to welcome our new students at Hogwarts, and hope you will all become great wizards and wives. I also have a few start-of-term notices I wish to announce. First years, please note that the Dark Forest is strictly forbidden to all students. Also, our caretaker, Mr. Filch, also asked to remind you that magic should not be used between classes in the corridors. Finally, I must tell that this year the 3rd floor corridor on the right-hand side is out of bounds to everyone who does not wish to die a very painful death. Naruto smiled, already planning to go in the Dark Forest to find a place to train his ninja skills, and Dumbledore must have his reason to forbid the 3rd floor corridor, so he will listen to his warning. He heard a few people laugh at the last warning, Harry a part of them, before he realized he was one of the few who did, and asked if he was serious. Their prefect, Percy Weasley, answered that he was, but that was weird because he didn't even tell the prefects why. The questions everybody had died as soon as Dumbledore started the feast. Harry never had the right to eat all he wanted with the Dursleys, but stopped digging in the food when he saw the odd look Naruto had on his face. What's wrong, Naruto? He asked, catching the attention of the people around them. I never saw that much food, he muttered. The others looked at him strangely. He realized what he said and added quickly, I mean that much different food. I came from an Asian country. He laughed nervously while rubbing the back of his head before he took loads of different foods. The others went back to their plates without thinking much about it, apart from Harry, Ron and Hermione, but they didn't as anything. Well, that was a close one, Kurama said. Yup, that was. I should be more careful about what I say about my past, or I'm going to reveal I'm a ninja, and that would be bad. Especially around this girl you met before. She seems smart, and will take any bits of information that she can about you, he warned. I know that it will be difficult, but I promised Old Man Hokage and Dumbledore that I'll keep the secret, so I'll do my best. On another note, that is a hell lot of food. Just who does it? No idea, but I will need to thank them if I find them because it's really delicious. A shame they don't have ramen, thought he said before he talked to the students around him. The conversation turned quickly to families. I'm half and half. My dad's a muggle, mom's a witch. Quite a nasty shock when she told him, a guy named Seamus said, and the others laughed. Neville told them that he lived with his grandma, and that his great-uncle tried to bring some magic out of him in several ways that made them laugh. What about you, Naruto? Asked Seamus. Oh, my life is not that interesting. I neither knew my parents and lived in an orphanage until I could leave to live alone, and I only learned that magic exists 2 weeks ago, he said casually, shocking the others. Wait, you live alone? Asked Ron. Yeah, where I come from, if you are an orphan, at a certain age you can choose if you want to stay in the orphanage or live alone. But I'm still taken care of, so don't worry, he answered with a smile. But Hermione was sure it wasn't a real one, she didn't know why thought. Before anyone could ask anything else, a ghost came out of the table, scaring the life out of Naruto as other ghosts came out from the floor and walls. Hello, how are you? Welcome to Gryffindor, the ghost said. Hello, Sir Nicholas, had a nice summer? Percy asked. Dismal, once again my request to join the Headless Hunt has been denied. Hey, I heard about you. Ron exclaimed, you're nearly headless, Nick. I would prefer you call me Sir Nicholas if you don't mind, responded Nicholas, irritated by Ron's comment. Wait, how can you be nearly headless? Hermione asked. Naruto looked slowly at the ghost, shivering a bit. The ghost seemed annoyed by the turn the conversation took. Like this, he said while pulling his head on the side. There was still a tiny part of his head attached to his body. Obviously the one who wanted to behead him didn't do it properly. Everyone was disgusted by the wound except Naruto, which didn't go unnoticed by Nicholas. What an interesting boy, he said, pointing at Naruto. You are scared of a ghost, but you don't react to my wound. Everyone looked at Naruto again, and he felt uncomfortable as he tried to find an excuse. Well, I'm more afraid of ghosts I can't touch than wounds that can be fixed, he said sheepishly. The others seemed to buy that excuse since they returned to eat after they talked a bit with Nicholas before he went to see other students. After the feast, the prefects led them to the dormitories. They stopped in front of the portrait of a fat woman wearing a pink silk dress. Password? She asked. Caput Draconis, Percy said loud enough for everyone to hear, and the portrait swung forward to reveal a round hall in the wall. They went in to see the Gryffindor common room. The prefect led the boys in their dormitory after directing the girls to theirs. Naruto entered and saw that their luggage has been placed next to their bed. He saw Amaterasu on his bed near the window. He went over her to pet her before preparing to go to bed. After he was in his pajamas, plain orange ones that was in the suitcase Dumbledore bought him, he looked at the silver pocket watch, wondering when he would have the time to give it back to Dumbledore, but these thoughts were quickly replaced by thoughts of where he was, him, the demon brat that only a few in the village recognized as Naruto. He was going to learn magic in a castle. He considered this a blessing since no one knew who he was or that he has the powerful nine-tailed fox inside him. The fact he already had friends was for him the proof that his life will get better. Well, if he managed to keep his identity secret, and he still have to find a place where he could do ninja training, but he will deal with it the next day. After all, tomorrow will be his first day learning magic and he couldn't wait to start. Naruto woke up the next morning to see he was the first one awake. He looked around to see Amaterasu sleeping on his nightstand next to the pocket watch, and he smiled. It wasn't a dream. He was in a castle to learn magic. But first thing first, morning training with Kurama was his priority, so he dressed himself with his orange ninja outfit. While he was doing so, Amaterasu woke up and went on his shoulder before he sneaked out of his dormitory. He was now wandering in the dark forest to find a spot for training, but every time he found a clearing it was full of ingredients that he was pretty sure could be used for potions, so people might come here to gather some, or there were a lot of wildlife in it, and he didn't want to disturb it. After a while he gave up and stated to read a scroll about chakra control the Hokage gave him. He was practicing how to walk on a tree but had trouble in doing so. God damn it, why is it so hard? He exclaimed to no one in particular as Amaterasu looked at him from a branch, the goal Naruto tried to achieve. Calm down, Kit, you have a lot of chakra, so of course it will be difficult to control it. Try to put a bit less in your feet and imagine yourself walking on the tree. The image is important for the first times. Kurama explained him. I know this, but it's easier to say that I have to control my chakra to stick on the tree than doing it. Kurama sighed. The angrier you get, the harder it will be for you to concentrate, so let's stop. You'll continue tomorrow, and you did get halfway to the top, so it won't be long before you pull it off. Yeah, you're right. Thanks, Kurama, Naruto answered before he called Amaterasu and went back toward the castle. It was still early, but teachers were awake along with the paintings, and ghosts started to wander around, so it was harder for Naruto to go back to his dormitory, and very stressful since he was afraid of ghosts and nearly got himself caught by a few of them, especially a poltergeist, Peeves. Now normally Naruto would be happy to encounter another prankster, but since he was a ghost and he tried to sneak back in his dormitory, it proved to be very difficult, Peeves being known to be the worst guy/ghost to meet when you tried to be discreet. Somehow Naruto and Amaterasu managed to get back in their room despite one of them wearing a full bright orange outfit and the other being a bright red phoenix, and they were back before anybody got up, so Naruto quickly changed into the Hogwarts uniform and hid the scroll. He went in the common room and waited for his friends to come out to get breakfast by reading the book he bought on magical creatures. He read the chapter on phoenixes and noticed that Amaterasu didn't have golden feathers yet, a sign she wasn't an adult, the book explained. He read more of the characteristics of phoenixes but found out that he already knew most of them. He was going to read about another magical creature but stopped when he felt someone coming toward him. he turned around to see Harry and Ron coming toward him as several students made their way toward the Great Hall. "What are you reading?" Harry asked. "Information on phoenixes, but I knew most of them when the animal vendor told me about mine," he answered, making Ron look at him in shock. "You've got a phoenix?" Naruto nodded. "Yeah, I called her Amaterasu." "But they are very rare and nearly impossible to tame," Ron said. Harry looked impressed after he heard that. "Well, it's more like she chose me, in fact. But let's talk about that as we eat, and I'm excited about starting the lessons too," he said excitedly while going toward the Great Hall, Ron and Harry following quickly after him. The first lessons in magic weren't exactly how Naruto imagined they would be, but he was too excited to learn about magic to care. Of course, he found boring that all they started to do were taking notes, but he knew they had to do it before practical training, as technical knowledge was important in magic. So far he enjoyed his lessons. Herbology was taught by a dumpy little witch called Professor Sprout that Naruto immediately took a liking to. Transfiguration was boring and taught by the green robe-wearing old woman who he learned was called Professor McGonagall. Boring because they were only taking notes, but the teacher turned her desk into a pig and back, so he wasn't complaining. Charm class was also fun, and the short teacher was also nice. Thought they started by theory there too. It was now time for one of the lessons he had been the more interested in, potion. Now he knew that there will be loads of theory in this subject too, and the fact that they had the lessons with the Slytherins wasn't great, but he figured that potions will be so useful in his ninja career that he didn't care. Well, that is until the lesson started. The teacher, Professor Snape and head of Slytherin, started by taking the register but paused at Harry's name, but not in a pleasant way. He then started a presentation of his subject about how potions can ensnare the senses, bewitch the mind, and even put a stop to death, and that rose Naruto's interest enough for him to ignore the fact he insulted the entire class and apparently decided to favor Malfoy. But Naruto didn't ignore the fact that Snape was insulting Harry, who was just taking notes of what he said. He asked questions that nobody in the class could answer, well, except for Hermione apparently. "Potter," he said, "what would I get if I added powdered root of asphodel to an infusion of wormwood?" Of course, Hermione immediately raised her hand but was superbly ignored by Snape, who seemed focused on making fun of Harry, and that annoyed Naruto. "I don't know," Harry answered. "It seems fame isn't everything." "So that's why focus on Harry? It's not his fault, god damn it," Naruto thought. Snape asked 2 more questions to Harry, and again the only one who seemed able to answer was Hermione, but he ignored her. Naruto tensed up even more. He held the side of his desk and nearly destroyed it as he tensed up, but barely managed to control himself. "I don't know, sir," Harry answered the last question. "I think Hermione does, though. Why don't you try her?" he said. A few laughed, and Naruto smiled at how his friend defended himself, until... "Sit down, foolish girl," the teacher snapped, and that was the last straw for Naruto to snap. "That's unfair, Professor," he exclaimed while standing up. Everyone was surprised at his outburst, even Snape. "You ask questions that nobody would normally be able to answer, and when someone seems to know them you ignore her, and say she's foolish, and that just because Harry have fame he doesn't even want. That's just wrong," he said. The other students looked at him blankly, not expecting somebody to stand up to the frightening potion teacher, who seemed pretty angry by the way. "I will not tolerate insubordination in this class," Snape exclaimed. "I will make an exception since you come from another country and may not know how school works here. If you don't know the answer of a simple question, then you are just another dummerhead I usually have to teach. Now sit down," he ordered. Many students flinched at the tone of his voice, but not Naruto. He was used to far worse. "Okay, then let's see," he turned and pointed a Slytherin. "Do you know any answer of the questions Professor Snape asked?" The student sank a bit in his chair. "I don't know," he admitted. Naruto chose a Gryffindor this time. "And you?" he asked. The student shook his head. Naruto pointed at Malfoy. "Maybe you know then?" Draco paled a bit. He wanted to stand up to Naruto, but something in his eyes made this thought go away in fear. I don't know," he said, humiliated in front of the class and the housemaster of Slytherin. Snape was beyond angry that a student was winning against him in an argument by showing that even his house, and the kid he chose to favor, didn't know the answers to his questions. Naruto looked at him smugly. "Seems like I was right, Professor," the class gasped as Naruto defied the teacher once again. 20 points will be taken of Gryffindor for your insubordination, and you will go to the headmaster office now," Snape ordered while staring at Naruto, who didn't stop glaring at the professor, looking straight in his eyes. It lasted a short time, just enough for Snape to know that he wasn't afraid of him, and Snape had the strange impression that he had a wild beast in front of him, but Naruto finally broke the contact, took his belongings and went toward the exit. Just before he passed the door he turned toward the professor one last time. "And if we knew everything, we wouldn't need to go to school now, would we?" And with that said he left, Later he will be known for being the first and only student in Hogwarts history to have managed to bring Snape at a loss of word. Now Naruto was going toward Dumbledore's office with mixed feelings, angry because of Snape and guilty because he got expelled from a lesson on his first week. He was sure that he disappointed the old wizard and he hated it. He stood in front of a statue of a weird monster until he heard lemon sherbet and the statue moved to reveal a staircase. Naruto went in and found the office. He looked in amazement at all the objects in the room. Most of them were gold, but he stopped when he saw a phoenix, an old one, but not less beautiful. He went toward the phoenix and put his hand forward, stopping a few centimeters in front of the phoenix to let him choose if he wanted to be stoked by him. The red animal closed the gap and that made Naruto smile. He was stroking the phoenix when he heard Dumbledore's voice. Beautiful creatures that are phoenixes, and difficult to approach too, but I heard you were also chosen by a phoenix. Naruto looked up to see the old wizard come down some stairs. The guilt came back. But would you mind to tell me why you are here? And so Naruto told everything, from his excitement toward potion class, from his confrontation with Snape. Dumbledore listened patiently, and when Naruto finished he smiled, confusing Naruto. Although it is admirable to stand for your friends, Professor Snape is a teacher here at Hogwarts, and deserve the same respect that you will give to any teacher. Naruto looked at the ground. Now on to your punishment. Naruto's head shot back up. Professor Snape already took points from Gryffindor, he exclaimed in panic, scared that Dumbledore will take more points from his house. The old wizard's smile grew a bit larger. Yes, but he sent you there, so that means that he considers that you should have another punishment. How about we make you gather potions ingredients with Hagrid? It will even give you a pretext to look for a place to train in the dark forest, he said, chuckling slightly when he saw the look on Naruto's face. How did you? I thought no one saw me. Nobody did except for me. You are quite skilled for hiding, especially considering you wore bright orange clothes and were followed by a bright red phoenix, Dumbledore said, making Naruto smile. Since it is too late for potion classes, you should go straight to defense against the dark arts, he said, and Naruto made his way toward the exit when he remembered something and went back toward Dumbledore. I nearly forgot to give you this back, he said while taking out the silver pocket watch. You can keep it. I made it as a welcome to the magical world present for you, Dumbledore said, pleased by Naruto's joy that was written on his face. Naruto thanked him and went to his next class. When they saw him, Harry and Ron asked him what happened, and he told them about his punishment that made them pale a bit when he mentioned the dark forest. They talked while they were waiting for their teacher to come when Hermione came with some papers. That's the notes on what we did in potion today. I thought you will need them, she told Naruto while giving him the notes. Thank you, Hermione. How was the class while I was gone? Horrible, Hermione, Harry and Ron said at the same time. It would have been slightly better if you didn't annoy him, but what you did was still awesome, Ron said. They talked for a while and Naruto noticed some Gryffindors looking at him from the corner of his eyes and whispers about what he did in the potion class. Apparently he became famous too, less than Harry of course. Defense against the dark arts was pretty disappointing since their teacher, Professor Quirrell, seemed afraid of his own subject. It was again only theory, and the strong garlic smell in the room nearly drove him insane, one of the bad sides of having enhanced senses. When the day finished, Naruto went to find the gamekeeper to start his punishment. He talked with him about different magical creatures and Naruto discovered that on the contrary of what people believed, there were no werewolves in the forest. After 2 hours of gathering potion ingredients, Naruto was exasperated that he still didn't find any clearing that will do for his training. Every time he found one, there was potion ingredients or wildlife in it. He was kneeling next to a river he found to drink its water, a thing he was sure Hagrid will scold him for if he was here, but stopped when he heard noise right behind him. He turned around while grabbing one of the kunais he always carry with him. Ninja always have to be prepared for anything after all, only to freeze at the sight of 2 beautiful silver horses with a horn forming on their forehead and golden hooves. He carefully put back his kunai and didn't move, not wanting to scare them. They just looked at him in the eyes and Naruto saw great intelligence in them. He slowly raised his hands toward their heads and waited, hoping that they will close the gap but knowing that it'd have to be their choice, like the phoenixes chose. The young horses looked at each other briefly before placing their heads in Naruto's hands and let him stroke them, which he happily did. It lasted a while before they heard a neigh. They turned to see another beautiful horse with a full-grown horn, gold hooves and of a white so pure it put fresh fallen snow to shame. The silver horses rubbed their heads one last time against Naruto before going toward what Naruto assumed was their mother. Naruto went back to Hagrid and told him what happened. The half-giant didn't stop to tell him how lucky he was to be able to not only see but also touch unicorns and told him all he knew about them while they finished Naruto's punishment. Snape unknowingly gave Naruto one of the best moments of his life. The next day the Gryffindor first years were going to take a lesson they were all eager to start, flying. While they were nearly all eager to start this lesson, a few like Hermione and Neville was a bit scared of what could happen if you fell from a big height, and theory wasn't going to help a lot here. Naruto and Harry, though, were excited by the prospect of flying. even thought they had class with the Slytherins, and of course Draco, who couldn't shut up about how god he was at flying and how his father said he should be in a team because he had such natural talent in it, and so on. He was starting to give Naruto a headache, so he was really relieved when the teacher, a woman with gray hair and spikes similar to Naruto's hair, came and told them in a strict voice to go to the left of their brooms. Stick out your right hand under the broom and say up, Madam Hooch said, and everyone obeyed. Some got their broom in their hand in their first try, like Harry, Draco and Naruto, while some other just rolled around, like Hermione, or didn't move, like Neville. With feelings Madam Hooch told when she saw that some of them had trouble with their brooms, Ron set up a few times, getting annoyed that his broom didn't move until the broom obeyed and went up to slam directly in his face, making Harry and Naruto laugh. Oh, shut up, you, Ron said, but couldn't help but smile too. When everybody got their brooms in their hands, the lesson continued. Madam Hooch showed them how to mount their broom without sliding and passed in the rows to correct the grips if needed. Harry, Ron and Naruto were delighted when Madam Hooch told Malfoy he did it wrong for years. Now then, when I blow my whistle I want you to kick the ground, hard. Keep your broom steady, rise a few feet, and then come straight down by leaning forward slightly, she said, but before she could bring the whistle to her lips Neville kicked the ground hard in fear of being left behind and began to rise, with no control over his broom. Naruto could see his pale face as the teacher told him to go down, but he couldn't. The broom started to rise even more and moved sharply, as if it tried to throw Neville of it. Naruto didn't think twice before he kicked the ground himself and speed up to catch Neville, despite the protest from the teacher and a few students that told him to come down, but he didn't listen. He pursued Neville, but it wasn't easy. Neville's broom took sharp turns and changed speed quickly and totally randomly, and Naruto only managed to keep up because of his ninja training and his instinct. He followed him as the mad broom bumped against the wall of a tower. Neville was screaming and Naruto tried several times to grab him but barely missed each time. The insane broom tried to block him too. Naruto had Neville on his right side and the tower on his left. He tried to grab Neville when the damn broom moved to the left. Naruto tried to dodge but only managed to hit his left arm on the tower. He heard a cracking noise and a sharp pain he knew too well. His arm was broken. Neville finally fell and grabbed Naruto's arm, the left arm. Naruto didn't scream, but the sudden pain made him let go of his broom and they fell. As they fell, Naruto grabbed Neville with his right arm and pulled him so that he wouldn't land face first before they hit the ground. Naruto had the air knocked out of him but didn't have any more injury while Neville let out a small whine. Shit, he broke something, Naruto thought when he felt a familiar warmth and heard a sizzling sound. Knowing what was happening, he started to panic a bit. Don't heal me, Kurama. And why shouldn't I? He asked. Because it is not normal here to heal like that. It will only bring suspicion on me, Naruto answered. Fine, the fox said with a sigh as the sizzling sound stopped and the pain went back. Just in time as the teacher arrived with the students. Seeing that Naruto was up, they thought he was in a better condition than Neville, and the teacher checked him first. Broken wrist, she said, her face as pale as Neville. When she looked at Naruto's left arm, that he hid from the other student, she paled even more. It was twitching in a wrong way. And a broken arm. Some student gasped and looked at Naruto, who just winced a bit as he moved his arm but nothing else. Madam Hooch turned toward the rest of the class. None of you is to move as I take these boys to the infirmary. You leave these brooms where they are or you'll be out of Hogwarts before you can even say Quidditch. Come on, dears, she said as she led them to the infirmary. When they arrived, the matron, Madame Pomfrey, immediately rushed toward Naruto. Please heal Neville first. I'm okay, he said, shocking the others. A kid with a broken arm chose to stay in pain longer for somebody who only had a broken wrist. Madame Pomfrey would normally insist and heal by force if she had to, but the seriousness in Naruto's voice warned her that he was serious, so she healed Neville first, as fast as she could to heal the broken arm. While Naruto waited that his arm was healed, Madame Hooch told him that even though he did something reckless, he flew amazingly well for a total beginner. In fact, I have a proposition for you. How about joining the Gryffindor Quidditch team? You would make an excellent chaser with your reflexes, she said, but Naruto's only answer was, What's Quidditch? Hooch and Neville looked at him in shock. They were starting to explain what Quidditch was before being sent out by Madame Pomfrey so that she could concentrate on healing him. When they were gone, she began healing him. After a short while, he was ready to go. Please take care of your body. I do not enjoy seeing the same students as patients, Pomfrey said. Naruto smiled. I'll try, but I can't promise anything, he said before going out, only to find himself in front of Madame Hooch. Follow me, she ordered. He followed her in the corridors until they bumped into McGonagall and Harry. Harry, why are you here? He asked. Well, I was caught by Professor McGonagall when I was flying for. You what, Mr. Potter? Asked Hooch. He caught this ball, McGonagall interrupted, after a 50-foot dive. Didn't even scratch himself. So I suppose you are heading toward wood? Hooch asked. McGonagall nodded. Then bring him with you, he will make an excellent chaser, she said. The teachers talked excitedly for a short time while Naruto and Harry exchanged confused glances. Soon Madame Hooch went away to continue her class while McGonagall led them toward a classroom. They met with a student called Wood, and that was apparently the captain of Gryffindor's Quidditch team. He was overjoyed to learn about what did Harry and Naruto and immediately took them in as a seeker and chaser. You're joking, Ron exclaimed. It was dinner time and Harry and Naruto told him what happened to them, seeker and chaser. But first years never, you must be the youngest house players in about a century, Harry and Naruto interrupted. Wood told us, Harry continued. Ron was so amazed that he just sat and gaped at Harry. We start training next week. But don't tell anybody. Wood wants to keep it secret. A short time after, Malfoy came flanked by Crabbe, Goyle and a black-haired guy that Naruto recognized as the one who bullied Hermione the first time he met her. Having a last meal, Potter? When are you taking the train back to Muggles? He taunted. You're a lot braver now that you are on the ground and you've got your little friends, Harry said coolly. Naruto snickered. You find this funny? Strange coming from somebody who broke his arm the first time he flew, but I suppose it's all a mudblood can do, the black-haired guy said. I prefer being a mudblood than a bastard like you, Naruto shot back calmly, not bothering to turn around to look at him. That infuriated the boy even more. We'll take you any time on our own, tonight if you want, Malfoy said. Wizard's duel, no contact. Draco against Harry and me against the mudblood. What's the matter? Never heard of a wizard's duel before, I suppose. Of course they have. I'll be Harry's second and we will find one for Naruto. Who's yours? Ron asked. Crabbe for Malfoy and Goyle for me, the dark-haired Slytherin said. Midnight at the trophy room. That's always unlocked, he said before they went away. What's a wizard's duel? Asked Harry. Ron explained them what it was when Hermione came. Excuse me, they looked at her, Ron and Harry in slight irritation and Naruto with a smile. Can't a person eat in peace in this place? Ron asked, but sank a bit in his chair when he saw the glare Naruto gave him. Hermione ignored Ron and spoke to Harry and Naruto. I couldn't help overhearing what you and Malfoy were saying, and you mustn't go wandering around the school at night. Think of all the points you will lose, Gryffindor, if you're caught, and you're bound to be. It's very selfish of you. And it's really none of your business, Harry said. Hermione went away with a huff and Naruto glared at him. What? It was nearly midnight and Naruto, Ron and Harry went toward the exit of their common room when they heard a voice coming from the chair nearest from them. I can't believe you're going to do this, said Hermione as she stood up, wearing a pink dressing gown and a frown. Please, Hermione, just let us pass, Naruto said before Ron could say anything. I almost told the prefect, you know, he would have stopped this, she said. Come on, Harry told Ron and Naruto, irritation clearly evident in his voice as he passed the fat lady painting. They followed, but so did Hermione, scolding them. She was going to go back in the common room when she saw that the fat lady wasn't there. Now what am I going to do? She asked. Not our problem, said Ron. How about you become my second? You don't have much else to do right now after all, Naruto said. The others stared at him blankly before Hermione sighed. Okay, you win, I'll be your second, but only because I don't have a choice, she told him. Naruto just smiled. They walked in silence until they heard some snuffling and found Neville curled up and fast asleep. He suddenly woke up and looked at them. Thank goodness you found me. I've been out there for hours. I forgot the password to go to bed, he said. The password is Pigsnout, but it won't help you since the fat lady is not there. If you'll excuse us, we have somewhere to go, Ron said. Wait, don't leave me here. The bloody Baron already passed twice, he panicked. You can come, but stay quiet or we will get caught, Naruto told him. They made their way to the trophy room, praying that Filch or his cat Mrs. Norris don't find them. They were lucky and went in the trophy room to find the black-haired kid alone. Where are the others? Naruto asked. A bit late, he answered coolly, but that won't stop our duel, filthy mudblood. What's your name? Naruto asked. I'll at least remember the name of the guy I beat, the boy scoffed at that. Last time was only because I let my guard down. My name is David Quinn, yours? Naruto Uzumaki. Now let's start, Naruto said as they took their wands out. They stared at each other until they both raised their wand at the same time. Vertimilius, they said at the same time. Green sparks shot from their wands. Naruto dodged those that went toward him, but David wasn't as fast and the sparks hit him on the right shoulder, creating a small blast that put him off balance. Seeing an opportunity, Naruto cast the spell again and disarmed his opponent. It's my win, Naruto said. Now stop bothering us, and since Malfoy is still not there, I suppose it is a forfeit. He started to make his way back toward the exit when he heard a mewing. Everyone froze. When they turned around, they saw that David was gone, but Filch Cat was here, and Filch near. They ran away as fast as they could, but Filch always seemed near. They didn't know where they were going and didn't care, until they ran into a locked door. "This is it," Ron said. "We're done for." "Oh, move over," Hermione said as she grabbed Harry's wand, tapped the lock and whispered Alohomora. The lock clicked and the door swung open. They rushed in and closed the door. They heard Filch pass and go away. "He thinks the door is closed," said Harry. "And for a good reason," Ron said in a small voice. They turned and saw a gigantic three-headed dog that was growling at them. So they did the only logical thing people will do in their situation. They rushed out of the room, closed the door, and ran as fast as they could toward their common room. "I didn't even notice that we were in the forbidden corridor," Naruto said once they were all back. "What hat do they think they're doing? Locking a thing like that in a school? If any dog needs exercise, this one does," Ron exclaimed. "You don't use your eyes, don't you?" Hermione asked. "Didn't you see on what it was standing?" "The floor?" Harry suggested. "Sorry, but I was too preoccupied by his heads." "And there were 3 of them if you didn't notice," Ron stated. "It was standing on a trap," Naruto said. "It was guarding something that even the prefects don't know about." "I can see that one of you used his eyes at least. Now I'm going to bed before one of you gets a brilliant idea to get us killed, or worse, expelled," she said before going to bed. "She really needs to sort her priorities," Ron said, but Harry was wondering what was in the little package that Hagrid took at Gringotts, as he said that they are not a safer place than the Goblins' Bank except Hogwarts. But what would need such protection? The next morning Naruto woke up early and saw that he was the only one up, as usual. He went to his daily training with Kurama. Well, training that was very limited and that mostly resumed at looking for a good training spot, not finding one, and trained basic chakra control and frustration. Well, it was what he expected to happen, but after an hour of search, he decided to take a break and go drink at the river. He met the unicorns. He smiled at the memory as he drank the fresh water. He went up to search again but stopped when he saw the 2 young unicorns and their mother not far away, staring at him. The mother indicated that she wanted him to follow her, and he obeyed. When he got close, the 2 foals rubbed their heads on his hands before following with him, their mother, deeper in the forest. They walked a while, Naruto stroking the foals happily, before the unicorn mother stopped in front of a clearing. Naruto walked in it, and saw that this place was the perfect training spot. It was large, had no potion ingredients, and no wildlife that he would disturb. He turned around and thanked the unicorns for helping him. They couldn't talk, but Naruto saw a twinkle in their eyes. It was like they smiled at him with their eyes. Naruto then created shadow clones and started his first serious training since coming in Hogwarts, under the gaze of the 3 unicorns. Naruto was so focused on his training that he didn't realize what time it was until Amaterasu came, and dropped a large package and a letter in front of him. He petted Amaterasu to thank her, and took the letter that he opened carefully by habit, only to find a neat handwriting that he didn't recognize. "I heard from Professor Hooch that you will be part of the Gryffindor's Quidditch team and send you a broom with the help of your Hokage. Congratulations for being in a Quidditch team. Oliver Wood will start your training tonight at 7 o'clock for your first training session. Good luck. Albus Percival Wulfric Brian Dumbledore." Naruto's eyes went wide. A broom? Old man Sarutobi and Dumbledore gave him a broom? He was overjoyed and didn't waste any time to open his present. It was beautiful in his opinion, sleek and shiny with a mahogany handle, a long tail of neat, straight twigs, and Nimbus 2000 written in gold near the top. He kept a mental note of asking what his broom was, as he didn't know anything about them except he could fly with them. It was then that he realized something. The letters arrived, and that meant he missed breakfast, and his stomach realized this too. He said goodbye to the unicorns who stayed next to him while he trained and rushed back to the dormitories to change his clothes. Luckily nobody found him, and he looked at the time. He had enough time left to eat before lessons started, so he rushed in the kitchen to ask the cooks if he could eat the leftovers, since they were always some. When he arrived in the kitchen, he was surprised to see that the cooks were all little creatures 2 to 3 feet tall with spindly arms, oversized heads and eyes, and long, pointed, bat-like ears. They wore homemade clothes made from various things like pillowcases or tea towels. They looked as surprised by this encounter as him, and some even tried to hide themselves. There was an awkward silence before one of them spoke. "May I ask what you need, young sir?" he said with a high, squeaky voice. Naruto rubbed the back of his head sheepishly. "Well, I missed the breakfast, so I was wondering if I could ask for some leftovers." "Certainly, young sir. Follow me," the elf said before leading him to one of the tables. Naruto noticed that the kitchen was a high-ceiling room and had 4 tables similar to the ones in the great hall above it. They were also all in exactly the same place. He then looked at the creature that led him near the end of a table, a brick fireplace next to it. The creature had the same grayish color as his counterparts and light brown eyes. The creature motioned him to sit down, when he did, several creatures came with helpings of bread, eggs, sausage, and everything else that they made for breakfast. Naruto ate the food with enthusiasm under the gaze of the small creatures that stopped working for a moment. When he finished, Naruto looked at the creature who led him to the table. "I'm sorry, but I don't know much about the magical world. Could you tell me about your race?" Naruto asked politely. The creatures gladly answered, taking turns to inform him about what were house elves and their duties here. Naruto learned that they were working here for free, not because they were slaves but because they liked to serve, and one of their honor codes is to be of the utmost loyalty toward their master. He also learned that being given a cloth by their master will free them and that it is considered a great dishonor for them. He also learned all of their chores at Hogwarts. "I see, thank you for your hard work, especially the food. I never ate food this good before coming here," Naruto said with a bright smile. The elves seemed happy to be praised even if they tried to hide it. He talked to them for a while, telling them about where he comes from, not telling any details that could reveal the existence of ninjas of course, but enough for them to know about how the village looked like and the people that took care of him. When he mentioned about ramen, the elves were curious about this unknown food, and Naruto was more than happy to tell them about his favorite meal. The rest of the day went pretty quickly for Naruto. When 7 o'clock was near, he rushed with Harry toward the Quidditch pitch with their brooms in hand. They saw the stadium for the first time. Hundreds of seats were raised in stands around the pitch so that the spectators could be high enough to see what was going on, and at each end of the stadium were 3 golden poles with hoops in the end. They couldn't wait for wood to come and started flying. They passed in and out of the goalposts, and just enjoyed the feeling of flying, their brooms moving where they wanted at their lightest touch. They could have done this for hours, but they heard Wood telling them to come down. Once they were of their brooms, they saw that the Quidditch captain had a bright smile. "I see what McGonagall and Hooch meant. You two are naturals. I'm just going to teach you the rules, then you will have to come to team practice 3 times a week." He opened a crate that contained 4 different sized balls. Now Quidditch is easy enough to understand even though it's not that easy to play. There are 7 players in each team and 3 of them are called chaser. "That's you, Naruto." 3 chasers, Naruto and Harry repeated as Wood took out a bright red ball about the size of a football. This ball's called the quaffle. The chasers throw the quaffle to each other and try to get it through one of the hoops to score a goal. 10 points every time the quaffle goes through one of the hoops, follow me? They nodded. Now there's another player on each side called the keeper. I'm Gryffindor's keeper, by the way. My role is to fly around the hoops to stop the other team from scoring. 3 chasers to score with the quaffle and a keeper to stop it. Got it, Naruto said. "So what are they for?" Harry asked, pointing to the other 3 balls. "I'll show you. Take that," Wood said while giving Harry a small club, a bit like a rounder's bat. "These are the bludgers." He showed them 2 identical jet black balls, smaller than the quaffle, and that seems to struggle to release the straps that keep them inside the box. "Stand back," Wood warned before he released one of the balls that went immediately high in the air, before coming down towards Harry's face. He swung the club in an attempt to stop it to break his nose and sent the ball zigzagging away in the air. It went back toward Wood, that stopped it with some difficulty before he finally managed to put it back in the box. The bludgers tries to throw players of their brooms. That's why each team have 2 beaters. Their role is to protect their team from them and to send them toward the other team. The Weasley twins are our beaters. You think you got that? The young recruits nodded. Very good, he said with a smile. Have the bludgers ever killed anyone? Harry asked worryingly. Never at Hogwarts. We had a couple of broken jaws, but nothing worse than that. Now the last member of the team is the Seeker. That's you, Harry. And you don't have to worry about the quaffle or the bludgers. Unless they crack my head open, he stated, making Naruto chuckle. Don't worry, the Weasleys are more than a match for them. I mean, they are like human bludgers themselves. Wood then took the last ball out. Compared to the other balls, it was tiny. It was bright gold and had silver wings. This, he said, is the golden snitch, and it's the most important ball of the lot. It's very hard to catch because it's so fast and hard to see. It's the Seeker's job to catch it. You've got to weave in and out of the chasers, beaters, bludgers, and quaffle to get it before the other team's Seeker, because whichever Seeker catch the snitch give his team an extra 150 points, so they nearly always win. That's why Seekers get fouled so much. A game of Quidditch only ends when the snitch is caught, so it can last forever. I think the record is 3 months. They had to keep bringing substitute S so that the players could get some sleep. Well, that's it. Any questions? They shook their head. They understood what they had to do. Doing it was more problematic, especially for Harry. We won't practice with the snitch yet, he said while carefully placing it back. It's too dark, so we might lose it. We will practice with this instead, he said while taking out golf balls. While I train Harry, take the quaffle and get used to it. Throw it in the hoops in different situations. I'll come to train you after, he said to Naruto, who nodded and took off with the quaffle. While Wood was training with Harry, Naruto was bored. His ninja training made aiming in the hoops child play, no matter what handicap he set. But it was different when Wood was there. The Quidditch captain was really happy that Harry showed he will be a great Seeker, so when he trained Naruto by playing his role as a keeper, he was overjoyed to see that he didn't even need to take it easy. Even when Wood was serious, Naruto scored a good amount of points. He even made spins that made the quaffle go where Wood wasn't expecting it to. They trained like that for a while before Wood said it was time to go. He had no doubt that they would win this year's Quidditch Cup with recruits like this. Naruto was so busy with Quidditch practice, his ninja training and studying magic, yes studying, that he couldn't believe that it's already been 2 months since he came at Hogwarts. In these 2 months he did a lot of things. Every morning he went to the clearing to train his ninja skills and sometimes spells. That was easier when he discovered that what his shadow clones learned, he learned it himself when they dispelled. He also became one of the top students, a feat that he worked really hard to achieve. He was one of the top students nearly everywhere, except in history of magic, where at the first lesson, when he discovered the teacher was a ghost, he nearly ran away, and it took a lot of efforts and bargain from Harry and Ron to convince him to stay. Surprisingly, after a rough start, Snape couldn't help but recognize Naruto's talent in making potions, and even if he didn't like him, he respected this talent. Naruto also respected the teacher, didn't like him much, but it was better than how than nothing. The other teachers were quite impressed by his progress in practical training, being one of the first, if not the first, to succeed in doing a spell, even if he wasn't very good in the theoretical aspect of the classes. In the 2 months Naruto often went to talk with the house elves. They seemed to appreciate that too, as not long after his first visits a new meal appeared, ramen, and Naruto's food seemed to taste even better than before. He also loved to talk with Hagrid about the magical world and their creatures and grew closer to the big half-giant. For the first time in his life he felt accepted, at home. Of course Konoha was still his home, but for him Hogwarts became a new home, where he was already accepted, even if they didn't know much about him, as he have to hide that he is a ninja and that he has a great beast in him that he befriended. The fact that he hides something about him labeled him as a mysterious guy and drawn the attention of some people, especially girls, and kept away some others, like Hermione. Now Naruto considered Hermione as his first friend, but the girl was intelligent and curious, so it was dangerous for him to stay close to her. But the fact that he never told anything about himself drove her away little by little. They had an odd friendship because of that. They never hang out with each other. One because he was scared he might say something that might make her discover what he is, and the other because it frustrated her that he was this cautious about his past. Sure, they sometimes talked to each other and studied together, but apart from that there was a distance that didn't seem to close itself. It was in this context that Halloween started. They were in Charms class and were going to learn how to make objects levitate, something they all looked up to since the day the teacher made Neville's frog fly around the classroom. They were put into pairs, Harry with Seamus, Naruto with Neville. A relief for the others, as Naruto was the only one who could dodge Neville's attempt to take their eyes out, and Ron with Hermione. Naruto feared the worst, and he was right, as he heard Ron argue with Hermione, who tried to help him get the spell right, not in the nicest way but still trying to help. When Ron told her to show him if she was this clever, she made the feather they were training with fly, on her first try. Naruto managed to do it on his first try too and tried to help Neville to succeed with the spell, but in the end he didn't manage to pull it off, Ron neither. Ron was annoyed at the end of the lesson and talked about it with Harry, Seamus and him. "It's no wonder no one can stand her," Ron said. "She's a real nightmare." Honestly, somebody pushed past Harry and Naruto noticed it was Hermione, with tears in her eyes. "I think she heard you," Harry stated. "So? She must have realized she's got no friends," he answered before Naruto punched his shoulder pretty hard. "Ow, what was that for?" he asked. "For insulting my friend," Naruto shot back while sending him a glare that made him take a step back before Naruto took off to find Hermione. "I think you pissed him off this time," Harry stated the obvious again. Naruto tracked Hermione down easily. She was in the girls' toilets, in one of the cabin, crying. Having gone in the girls' bath in Konoha to perfect his sexy jutsu, he went in with no shame and stopped in front of the cabin where Hermione was. "Don't pay attention to what Ron said. He's just jealous that you're better than him in class," he heard a surprised yelp. "What are you doing here?" "No, I don't care, leave me alone," she said between sobs. "I came here because I saw my friend cry, and I don't intend to leave you alone when you cry," he said calmly. "Yeah, right, a friend. But that doesn't stop you to make fun of me with the others." Naruto was shocked that she thought he did something like that. "I would never do something like that," he exclaimed in disbelief. "Then why do you never say anything about you? It's like you don't want people close to you. Why can't you trust me if I'm your friend?" She nearly shouted. Naruto was taken aback by this. I'm sorry, I can't tell. I promised that I would not, and I don't really want to think about my past. It wasn't the most peaceful one out there," he answered in a low voice. "But you know, I never had friends before I met you. You're my first friend and I won't let you think otherwise." "To hell what Ron said, you have a friend. So if you want to talk I'll be there," he said, but it didn't calm her. "So you promised that you wouldn't talk about you?" "Yeah, right, leave me alone." Naruto was going to say something when he was stopped by a hand on his shoulder. He turned around to see an older girl from Hufflepuff. "You should leave her alone, give her some time to calm down," she said. Naruto agreed with a sigh, knowing that Hermione will not listen to what he had to say anymore. Naruto felt like the day was slower than usual, and sometimes lost focus, preoccupied by his crying friend that still didn't come back, and Hermione missing lessons meant she was really hurt. Ron promised he would apologize to Hermione, if only to keep the whiskered wizard from punching him again, as he had a bruise on his shoulder, and it didn't feel like Naruto was punching him hard, but it didn't stop Naruto to glare at him, scaring him more each time. Dinner came and no Hermione was in sight. The delicious food didn't raise Naruto's mood. "Where's Hermione?" Harry asked. "Patty Patil said that she won't leave the girls' bathroom. She's been in there all afternoon crying," Neville informed them, causing Naruto to send the strongest glare yet to Ron, who looked like he wanted to be anywhere except here. Naruto's glare ended as the massive doors burst open with a panicking Quirrell running toward the teacher's table screaming, "Troll in the dungeons! Troll in the dungeons!" "Though you'd want to know," he said before fainting. All the students panicked except Naruto, who knew he could probably beat one with his ninja training. When Dumbledore brought back order and told the prefects to bring the students in their dormitories, he followed quietly. "How did a troll come in?" Harry asked. "Not alone for sure. Trolls are quite stupid. Maybe Peeves let it in as a joke," Ron said. Both Harry and him stopped when they felt Naruto's hand on their shoulders. "Hermione, she doesn't know there is a troll here," he said before he ran towards the girls' bathrooms, closely followed by Harry and Ron. They arrived in the corridor leading toward their destination when they saw the troll disappear in the bathroom, followed shortly by a scream. Naruto immediately went as fast as he could, leaving his two friends behind as they were much slower than him. He saw the troll starting to break Sinks and Hermione under the last one. He jumped in front of the troll and taunted it. The troll tried to hit him, but he dodged every blows of the creature, well until its club hit the wall and a fragment of it hit Naruto's head with enough force to push him in a cabin. Harry and Ron arrived the moment Naruto was knocked out and panicked. Harry tried to stop the troll by jumping on it. It didn't realize that Harry had jumped on it, but it did felt the wand in his nose. The troll tried to shake Harry off until it caught him by the leg and swung its club at him, Harry barely dodging it, and even though he had his wand, fell on the floor. Ron, with the help of Hermione, performed the levitation spell, and the troll looked as his club rose in the air, turned a bit, and fell on his head with a loud noise. The troll let go of Harry, stumbled a bit, and didn't pass out. It let a loud roar and took solidly its club in his hand, and the young wizards knew that the levitation charm won't help anymore. The troll aimed to strike Hermione. The club went down, and she screamed, but the blow never came. She opened her eyes to see the back of Naruto. Only this time he was surrounded in a blue substance that she didn't recognize, and he stopped the troll's club with only his left hand, to the shock of the others. "I won't let you harm my friend," Naruto said coldly with an equally cold glare. The troll tried to take his club back, but Naruto tightened his hold on it. The wood cracked under his hand, while he readied his right arm to hit the troll. Blue chakra flowed in a spiral all around his arm, and the energy that cloaked him was lighter. "Single spiral, chakra cannon," he said as he struck the troll with his hand open. The condensed chakra expelled itself with enough force to push back the big creature several meters. As Naruto's arm had little cuts on it, the club fell on the ground, and before anybody could react, Naruto disappeared from where he was standing to appear in the air in front of the troll's head. His right arm ready to strike again, but this time it was two spirals, one blue and one red, that formed around his arm. "Double spiral," he said as he hit the troll, the power of it enough to send it crashing on the floor, making it shook a bit, and knocking him out. Naruto landed on the floor, his arm broken in several parts, deep cuts everywhere and a few bits of bones pointing out of it. The pain was enormous but was quickly washed away when a familiar warmth and sizzling sound came in it. "Thanks, Kurama," he mentally told the fox. "Reckless brat, you know how dangerous is this jutsu, and you used it anyway," Kurama answered angrily. "Well, what do you expect me to do when my friends are in danger, speaking of which?" He looked at his friends, who were looking at him in disbelief. Ron's mouth was wide open. He couldn't blame them after what he did. After all, for them what he did was impossible, when for him it was just the results of his special training. What happened? How did you do that? No, more importantly, what was that? Are you hurt?" they said as they rushed to his side. He did the best to hide his arm under his cloak, but they saw it, and how it was slowly healing too. "I'm all right," he tried to reassure them. "I'll explain everything to you later, so please don't talk about it to anyone," he pleaded. They were taken aback by his request but accepted. Just after that, Professor McGonagall, followed by Snape and Quirrell, arrived. Quirrell looked at the troll before giving a short whimper and sat down on a toilet, clutching his heart. Snape bent over the troll. McGonagall was looking at Ron, Harry and Naruto, and they never seen her this angry. "What on earth were you thinking of?" she said with cold fury in her voice. Please, Professor McGonagall, they were looking for me, Hermione said. Miss Granger. I was looking for the troll because I thought I could deal with it on my own, you know, because I read all about them. Harry and Ron looked at her blankly. Hermione Granger was telling a lie to a teacher? If they hadn't found me, I'd be dead now. Harry stuck his wand in its nose and Ron knocked it out with its own club, but Naruto was wounded when he tried to distract it, she said. Harry, Ron and Naruto tried to look like this story wasn't new to them, and Naruto was glad that she didn't mention what he did. Well, in that case, you foolish girl, how could you think of tackling a mountain troll by yourself? McGonagall said. Hermione hung her head. Well, one of us could, she though, while thinking of what Naruto did. Miss Granger, 5 points will be taken from Gryffindor for this. I'm very disappointed in you. If you're not hurt at all, you'd better go to Gryffindor Tower. Students are finishing the feast in their houses. Hermione left. Professor McGonagall turned toward Harry, Ron and Naruto. Well, I still think you were lucky, but not many first-year students could take down a full-grown mountain troll. You each win Gryffindor 5 points. Dumbledore will be informed of this. You may go. I will bring Mr. Uzumaki at the infirmary, she said before leading Naruto away. On the way to the infirmary, McGonagall had a clear look at the arm Naruto tried to hide. There were still 1 or 2 bits of bone slightly pointing out of it, and cuts, but it didn't bleed nor did it heal itself anymore. The teacher turned pale when she saw his arm. My God, you should have told me sooner that your arm was in this condition, she exclaimed. What were you thinking? Well, it doesn't hurt that much, he replied, shocking her even more as she saw he didn't lie. How did you get this wound? She asked. When the troll hit the wall, some fragments hit my arm. He tried to lie, but the teacher knew the wound didn't match with what he said. Then why does it look like the injuries come from inside your arm as well? Tell me what happened, she demanded. I can't talk about it, he snapped, taking the teacher aback by his outburst. If you want to know, talk to Professor Dumbledore, he said. The rest of the trip they stayed silent. When they went in, Madame Pomfrey was frantic when she saw his arm and immediately went to heal him, giving him a potion and casting a few spells. His arm was mostly healed, but he still needed a cast for a few weeks, Pomfrey said, but Naruto knew that in 1 week maximum he would be healed. One of the good sides of having a great beast inside you. He was released and went in Gryffindor's tower, where he was greeted by Harry, Ron and Hermione together, and that made him smile. They were all friends now, but he couldn't stop worrying. How will they react when he will tell them he is a ninja? The next day Naruto didn't train in the clearing. His arm was still hurt even though it healed faster thanks to Kurama's intervention, but what he needed was to lay back. He was completely scared of what will happen when he will tell his friends that he is a ninja. Will they even look at him after that? He did hide the fact that he was somebody trained, and still training, to be an efficient killer after all. In the worst case, they will also ask how his arm healed itself too, and he will have to tell them that he also has a great beast sealed in him, and he didn't think that telling them he was his friend will reassure them. After hours of trying to figure out a way to tell them without them freaking out and finding none, he decided that he had only one way to do it. And so he made his way toward Dumbledore's office. When he got in, he saw the old wizard behind his desk, smiling at him. Hello, Naruto. I heard from Professor McGonagall and Madame Pomfrey that your arm was in quite a state last night. Is it better? Naruto sat in a chair in front of the desk. It is better, but not fully healed. It will take a few more days. But you know why I came here, don't you? To ask if you can count on me to help you tell your friend about your secret, is that right? He asked with a smile. Yes, the troll wasn't knocked out by his club falling on him as they said. It annoyed it even more and was going to kill Hermione. You can guess what happened next, he said sheepishly. You shouldn't worry. Somebody would have found out you were a ninja one day or another, and without you, your friends will be dead or in critical condition. Nobody can blame you for this. Thanks, old man. Sorry, sir. Naruto corrected himself, making Dumbledore laugh. It is all right to call me like that. I am an old man after all. Bring your friends here after your lessons. Naruto laughed nervously. Well, then this matter is settled. We should go to breakfast before most of it is finished. Naruto nodded before rushing to the Great Hall. When he arrived, he awkwardly sat next to his friends. They ate in silence for a while before he told them to meet him after the classes. After a long and stressful day for Naruto, the dreaded time came. Harry, Ron and Hermione followed him without asking anything, seeing that it was hard enough for Naruto to tell them whatever he was going to say. But they were surprised when he led them toward a statue, told a password and went in as if it was perfectly normal, but they were even more surprised when they got in. They were in Dumbledore's office, and the old wizard was smiling at them. Why are we here? Hermione nervously asked. Because you wanted to know my secret. Obviously we expect everything told here to be kept secret, Dumbledore added calmly. The young wizards just nodded. Well then, what do you know about ninjas? Naruto asked. The others were taken aback by that. Well, they were Muggles assassins in Japan in the past, right? What does it have anything to do with you? Hermione said. Naruto smiled nervously while rubbing the back of his head. And if I tell you ninja still exists but in another country hidden from the rest of the world? They looked at him blankly. I don't really think it's possible to hide an entire country, especially from wizards, Ron said. Dumbledore's smile grew larger. I wouldn't think so, they are masters in concealment after all. Wait, are you saying that ninjas really still exist, sir? Harry asked. Well, of course, and you are next to one right now, they gasped at that. Then you are, Ron started. A young ninja, yes. So what you did with the troll, Hermione continued. I used what I learned, even though it wasn't techniques normal ninjas can use, he answered. What do you mean by that? She asked. I'll tell you later. So, what was the thing surrounding you anyway? Harry asked. Chakra, an energy that comes from the body and the mind. Theoretically, anybody can use it if you train properly. Wait, so even wizards can? I'm afraid not, and it is one of the reasons why the magical and ninja world are kept hidden from each other. When a wizard learns to control chakra, he can't use magic anymore. What? They exclaimed in shock. But why? Hermione asked. Nobody have an answer, and no one is ready to do tests for obvious reasons. The fact that ninjas and wizards have powers the other can have is the reason of this secret. The tension it creates could start a war. Dumbledore answered. But if that is the case, how can Naruto be a wizard? Ron asked. For unknown reasons, some very few ninjas can also use magic. Naruto is the 10th person in history to have this gift. 10th in history? They exclaimed, shocked. Yeah, I had the same reaction when I was told this, Naruto said with a nervous laugh. An awkward silence followed. So, as a ninja, are you? Harry started. A trained killer? Harry nodded yes. And when you said you weren't a normal ninja? Asked Ron. Naruto then explained that he had a great beast sealed in him, that he befriended him, and he also told them about his village, how he was treated, and how he lived. When he finished, they were silent, not knowing what to say. I could understand if you don't want to stay close to a trained killer and a monster. I'll stay away from you if you want, he said while looking at the ground, fists clenched in fear of what they would say. Well, that is a shock. I mean, I wasn't expecting you to be a ninja. But I guess it explains all the weird things about you. Well, weirder than the rest of the magical world, Harry said. But you're still the same Naruto we know. And after telling us all that, do you really think that we will just leave you? Naruto looked up. Having a ninja as a friend is kind of cool too, Ron continued. And you did reveal your secret to save us. If you have anything that troubles you, you can ask us for help. We are your friends after all, right? Hermione finished. Naruto sighed in relief. Thanks guys, I mean it. But if you tell this to anyone, I would have to kill you in accordance to my village laws. What? They exclaimed. I'm joking, he said while laughing, annoying his three friends. Don't joke about things like that. They said at the same time, but they finished by laughing with him, the tension gone. Well then, I believe that you should go before dinner starts without you, Dumbledore said. The young wizards nodded before making their way toward the exit. Not you, Naruto. I still have something to say to you. Naruto told his friends to go before him before he made his way back toward the old wizard. What is it, Dumbledore-sensei? I just wanted you to know that I informed Professor McGonagall and Madame Pomfrey about your secret. I also wanted to tell you that Sarutobi and I are working to reveal the existence of both worlds. If everything goes well, you won't have to hide that you are a ninja anymore. Really? That would be awesome! Naruto exclaimed excitedly, making Dumbledore smile. You can go now, don't make your friends wait too long. Right, sir, he said before rushing toward the Great Hall. His life just got a lot easier. As November started, the weather turned very cold. Naruto didn't like the cold. In the past, he often suffered from it, the villagers destroying or burning his house from time to time. He often camped in the forest, struggling to keep a bit of heat. Memories he didn't tell his friends about. He didn't want to be pitted and, with their first Quidditch match, didn't want to distract Harry. His friend was completely stressed out. Naruto was a bit stressed too, but nothing compared to Harry. He couldn't blame him though. Between the students that told him he would be great and the ones that told him that they'll be running underneath him holding a mattress, he really had reasons to be stressed out. Well, he had the same problem too, but he didn't care about what others say. Nobody saw Harry or him play because would wanted to keep them secret, but somehow the news that Harry was the Seeker and him a Chaser leaked out. It seemed crazy how he managed to keep his secret in Hogwarts. Even to the ghosts, he felt proud but also a bit ashamed that he hid his identity from the others. In fact, he decided to reveal his secrets to some people in Hogwarts, the house elves, Hagrid and the ghosts, the last ones not really by choice but because they would have found out anyway. He was scared for 3 days after that. Apart from that, his friends seemed to all get along. Ron and Harry appreciated Hermione's help for work, and she became more relaxed about breaking rules since Harry and Ron saved her from the troll. The day before their first Quidditch match, the 4 of them were out in the freezing courtyard during break, and she had conjured a small blue fire that could get carried in a jam jar. While they used it to keep themselves warm, Snape crossed the yard. They hid the flame, but that attracted his attention and came toward them. He didn't discover the fire but took points from Gryffindor anyways, along with the book Harry took from the library. Later he went alone to take it back from Snape, but he returned empty-handed and sprinting. He then told them that Snape was wounded by the 3-headed dog they saw. "You know what it means, right?" he finished breathlessly. "That was where he was at Halloween, trying to pass this dog and steal what it was guarding, and I bet he let the troll in to create a diversion." Hermione's eyes were wide while Naruto frowned. "No, he wouldn't," she said. "I know he's not very nice, but he wouldn't steal something that Dumbledore was keeping safe." "Seriously, Hermione, you think all teachers are saints or what?" Ron snapped. "I'm with Harry. I wouldn't put anything past Snape." Naruto frowned deepened. "I'm with Hermione on this one," he interrupted, making the others look at him, Harry and Ron in shock, and Hermione in gratitude. "Don't get me wrong, I don't really like Snape, but our personal feelings mustn't cover our judgment. But something is suspicious about this. There is definitely someone after what is guarded, and probably a teacher too, since no one apart from them are supposed to know about it. But we can't act imprudently." The others stared at him with big blank eyes, making him sigh. "Wow, I never expected you to say something like that," Ron said, the others nodding, annoying him slightly. "The hell? If I'm not cautious in my line of work I can die, you know," he whispered. A silence followed that. Naruto cleared up his throat before continuing. "Anyway, we should keep an eye up and look for any information on what is hidden here. But we must be discreet," he said before going to bed, already planning to talk about this matter with Dumbledore. The next morning, everyone was looking for the Quidditch match of the day, everyone except Harry. He wasn't eating anything because of his stress, the opposite of Naruto, who remained unchanged by the coming match. Naruto, Ron and Hermione tried to make Harry eat something but only managed to make him take a few bites, and only because Naruto threatened him to put him unconscious for the match if he didn't do it. Afterwards, motivation speech. Gryffindor's and Slytherin's Quidditch teams went with Madame Hooch, the referee of the match, in the middle of the pitch. She warned the players, especially the Slytherins, that she wanted a fair game before the match begun. Naruto focused on the match and not on the commentator doing rather interesting remarks on the game. Immediately after the match started, Angelina Johnson, a chaser of Gryffindor, took the quaffle and passed it to a teammate that tried to pass it to her again, but it was intercepted by a Slytherin. He passed it to his captain, Marcus Flint, who tried to score but would manage to defend the loops and pass the quaffle to a chaser. The chaser passed the quaffle to Naruto, and that's when he rushed to score. It was one of the ideas of Wood, take advantage of the fact that he would be underestimated by the Slytherins so that he can easily pass them and score. Like that, the Slytherins would target him more. Naruto will be in more trouble, but since he could manage the handicap, he accepted. And that's how the first points of the match went to Gryffindor. The cheers of the Gryffindors filled the cold air with howls and moans from the Slytherins at the humiliation of having only one chaser single-handedly past an entire team defense. The game lasted for a while, both teams doing their best, but Gryffindor had a slight edge, mostly because the Slytherins were focused on Naruto, not that it really stopped him from raising the score. At one point Harry seemed to have found the snitch but was blocked by Marcus Flint. He nearly got knocked off his broom. But that wasn't the first foul of Slytherins, and definitely not the last. Not long after that, Naruto had the quaffle and was trying to dodge the Slytherins that tried to stop him from moving until they suddenly scattered. Naruto saw one of the bludger going straight toward him and he didn't have the time to dodge. He put his arms in front of his head for protection until he felt pain in his chest and lower back at the same time. The force of the impact knocked him off his broom and made him do backflips in the air, unconscious. Naruto found himself in a familiar dark place with water underneath him and a cage in front of him. He smiled when he saw the gigantic fox he got to befriend over the years. "Yo Kurama, how are you doing?" "I'm alright. You on the other hand need some medical attention. You fell from pretty high and the wizards outside are panicking, especially your 3 friends," the fox said. It's true, you can see what's outside even when I'm unconscious. So, who won the match?" "You've been gravely wounded and you still want to know the result of the match?" Kurama asked with a sweat drop. Naruto nodded excitedly, making him sigh. "From what I heard, your team won after the dark-haired kid nearly swallowed the gold shining thing." "Yes. Naruto exclaimed while making a little victory dance, making Kurama laugh. Still as energetic as ever, I see, he stated. Well, since you're stuck here until you are healed, that means tomorrow, what do you want to do? Naruto, though, for a moment before answering, say, can you tell me another story from your past? The fox grinned. And you're still as curious as ever, okay then. The story I'll tell you about started 300 years ago as Kurama and Naruto spent some time together. In Hogwarts Infirmary, things were not as peaceful as in his mind. Madame Pomfrey was frantic as she cast healing spells, applied potions to Naruto. He had a broken arm, again, and several wounds on his body with a slight concussion. She tried to make his friends go away, but the best she got was them waiting at the exit. The next morning, Harry, Ron and Hermione were sitting next to Naruto's bed when he slowly woke up, stretching himself with a loud yaw. He looked around and saw his friends looking at him happily. Hey guys, what's up? He asked with a smile. What's up? You're up, that's what Ron exclaimed. God, we thought you were going to be unconscious for at least a week, Hermione said. Harry nodded and Naruto laughed at that. For what? A few little wounds? Come on, I would have been dead long ago if I was this fragile. What do you mean? Harry asked. You know, orphan, thrown in the streets for a while, the villagers hating me and trying to kill me. It's better to be tough in those situations, he said sadly. They didn't say anything after that until Naruto's stomach made itself known, and they went to take breakfast. Unknown from them was the fact that a certain black-haired Slytherin, named David Quinn, was passing near the infirmary at this moment, and heard everything. And he wasn't going to let pass a perfect chance to get back to the blonde wizard for the humiliation he, and his house Quidditch team, suffered. After the Quidditch match, nothing exciting happened. Naruto trained every morning and night in both ninja and wizard skills, study, go to class, do his homework again and again. The only thing that changed is that Naruto kept a close eye on Snape to stop his friends from doing it, and all Naruto could see is a strict but loyal to Dumbledore teacher. However, Dumbledore categorically refused to reveal anything about what was guarded in the castle, saying that it was not a matter students should be looking into, so he left it at that. Time passed and still nothing happened until Christmas holiday. Naruto returned to his village as Hermione went home and Harry and Ron stayed at Hogwarts. The reason he didn't stay being that a mission was going to be given to him and his team that he learned was composed of Sakura Haruno, Sasuke Uchiha, and their Jonin sensei, Kakashi Hatake. They had to take a C-ranked escort mission, but it didn't turn out well. Sasuke nearly died and the two shinobi that attacked them were betrayed by their employer, a guy named Gato, who also mocked the death of one of them. When he came back to Hogwarts, Naruto had set his resolve to create his own way of the ninja and to train harder so that he won't have to lose anyone he cared about, but the way Gato made fun of the death of one of the ninjas marked him. So when he was talking to his friends about the mirror Harry discovered this holiday, he wasn't pleased to be interrupted by a group of Slytherins led by David Quinn and Draco Malfoy. What do you want? Ron asked in a voice that showed clearly he wasn't pleased by their presence. David just innocently smiled. Nothing from you, Weasley. I was just wondering if Naruto had nice holidays, he started before grinning. After all, it must be hard to go back to a village that hates you. Some Slytherins snickered while Naruto tensed slightly, not expecting someone else than his friends to know. They weren't really nice, but not for the reason you expect, he calmly answered. Quinn just snickered. Yeah, you must be used to it. It's probably in your blood. Born from a family full of trash, it is just normal for you to be treated as trash yourself. The group of Slytherins laughed loudly as the students around stared in shock. The Great Hall was now silent. I'm sure your parents were trash that died a dog's da. Before he could finish, his group and him felt a violent force that pressured them, forcing them on their knees. Naruto was now standing in front of them. He felt a strange sensation but didn't pay it any attention as he was staring them down with a cold glare. The group of Slytherins felt that any movement could kill them. Don't ever insult someone's death again, or I'll make you regret it, he stated before he went out of the Great Hall, the pressure vanishing. While everyone in the hall were shocked about what happened, Naruto already made his way in his training spot in the forest. But this time it wasn't for training. I'm an idiot, he said as he sat against a tree. No, you're just someone who finally snapped after hearing too many insults, Kurama stated. It's the same. You're wrong, an idiot wouldn't have lasted that long. And it wasn't the fact that he insulted you or your family that made you snap, am I right? Naruto sighed. I just couldn't control myself when he insulted someone's death. You don't need to explain yourself, Kit. Naruto chuckled softly. Kit? Is the big bad fox getting soft on me? He teased. Shut up. I can't believe I was actually worried about you, stupid brat. Naruto couldn't help but laugh out loud. Thank you, Kurama, he mentally said as he calmed down, just as he said that the unicorns that now usually came to see him appeared from the other side of the clearing. They slowly walked toward him and laid down around him. The younger one put its head on Naruto's lap. Well, I suppose I'll stay there then, he said with a soft chuckle. He passed the night there, and nearly got himself killed by Hermione when he told his friends where he slept. The Gryffindors in the common room watched the show with amusement, even Ron and Harry. You were where? She nearly shouted. At that point Naruto was sweating a bit in fear. Hermione was usually calm and collected, but now he wondered how it was possible for her to scare him like that. I was in the Forbidden Forest, at its border of course. What were you thinking? Do you know how worried everybody was? A lot? He nervously asked. He knew nearly everyone in Hogwarts was worried when they heard what happened in the Great Hall, and then he just disappeared for a full night. And judging by his friends' relieved looks and Hermione's anger, they were the ones that worried the most. That is an understatement. I swear that if you ever do something like that again Now Hermione, he is here now, he is not hurt anywhere, and it might be good if you don't change that, Harry said. It managed to calm Hermione enough, and Naruto shot him a graceful look as the Gryffindors around went away to leave them alone. But seriously man, don't do this again, Ron said. Naruto smiled sheepishly. Yeah, I'll try. Try? Hermione growled dangerously. I mean I won't do it anymore, he quickly exclaimed. That's an excellent show I'm seeing. My compliments to the young witch, Kurama exclaimed in laughter. I so hate you. Sometimes it was at this moment that the door of the common room opened as Neville toppled into the room, his legs stuck in the leg locker curse. Hermione quickly went to him and performed the counter curse. Neville's legs sprang apart, and he got to his feet, trembling. What happened? Hermione asked as she led him over to the couch where the others were sitting. Malfoy, he answered shakily. I met him outside the library. He said he'd been looking for someone to practice that on. Go to Professor McGonagall, she urged Neville. Report him. I don't want more trouble, he mumbled. You've got to stand up to him, Neville, Ron said. He's used to walking all over people, but that's no reason to lie down in front of him and make it easier. There's no need to tell me I'm not brave enough to be in Gryffindor. Malfoy's already done that, Neville choked. Naruto stayed silent, knowing full well what it was to be bullied. Harry then gave Neville a chocolate frog. You're worth 12 of Malfoy, he said. The Sorting Hat chose you for Gryffindor, didn't it? And where's Malfoy? In stinking Slytherin. Neville's lips twitched in a smile. Thanks, Harry, I think I'll go to bed. Do you want the card? You collect them, don't you? As Neville walked away, Naruto followed him. When no one could hear them, he talked. What Ron said about fighting back, it's true. I know it from experience. Neville looked at him in surprise. You were bullied? Yeah, tons of times, but I fought back. I knew it will only get worse if I didn't. Neville looked down. But I'm not strong enough to fight back. The essential is to show that you won't let them push you around that easily. Bullies tend to only go after targets that don't resist. But let me ask you something, you were cursed in front of the library, right? Neville nodded. Then you hoped all the way to the common room? Again a nod. You fell a lot? A few times. Then stop looking down on yourself. I don't know a lot of people that could go all the way from the library to here with the leg locker curse. Malfoy certainly wouldn't be able to do it. You are stronger than you think you are, Neville, Naruto said as he started to walk away. He stopped a moment before throwing a small box at him. And put that on your legs. It will soothe the pain. Neville just stared at him as he made his way back to his friends. When he sat down, his friends told them about what they discovered about the Philosopher's Stone, and eternal life was something a lot of people would be ready to fight for. Now that they knew what was contained in Hogwarts, they had to know what protections were in place, apart from the three-headed dog, of course. So that's why they decided to go to Hagrid's place the night. Hagrid was nursing a precious treasure he had when he heard someone knocking on his door. He carefully opened only to find Harry, Ron, Hermione, and Naruto in front of him. Oh, hello, sorry, I don't want to be rude, but I am in no fit state to entertain today, he said before closing the door. We know about the Philosopher's Stone, they said at the same time. The door reopened. Okay then, come in. We think that Snape is trying to steal it, Harry said as they sat on chairs. Oh, you're not still on Snape, are you? He is one of the teachers guarding the stone. He's not about to steal it. The group, minus Naruto, had shocked look on their faces. Naruto's sweat dropped. You seriously didn't think that a thing that important would only be guarded by one gigantic three-headed dog? There are probably tons of spells and enchantments to guard the stone. That's right, waste of bloody time if you asked me. Nobody is going to pass Fluffy. Not a soul knows how, except me and Dumbledore. He froze. I shouldn't have told you that, he mumbled to himself. They suddenly heard something banging in a cauldron on the fire, and Hagrid took what was inside, feeling the heat even with protective gloves, and put it on his table. It was an enormous egg. Hagrid, what is that? Harry asked. I know what that is, Ron exclaimed, but Hagrid, how did you get one? I won it from a traveler I met in a pub, he answered. He seemed quite glad to get rid of it. As a matter of fact, the egg was shaking more and more until it broke, revealing the baby dragon in it. It was jet black. Is that a dragon? Hermione asked in disbelief. Not just any dragon, it's a Norwegian ridgeback, Ron stated. My brother Charlie works with these in Romania. Hagrid, your house is made of wood, Hermione said, but Hagrid didn't listen, too concentrated on the dragon in front of him, dragon who turned toward him. Bless him, look, he knows his mommy, he laughed as he tickled the dragon. Hello, Norbert. Norbert? Harry repeated. Well, yeah, he should have a name now, doesn't he? Ron, Harry and Naruto stopped themselves from laughing at Hagrid's weird choice of name. Norbert then coughed some flames, then ignited Hagrid's beard. He quickly put the fire out under the other's perplexed gaze. He will have to be trained a bit. Of course. It was then that Hagrid noticed someone at his window. Who's that? He asked. The others turned around to see Malfoy, who then took off running. They made their way back to the castle only to be intercepted by McGonagall, Malfoy next to them. Well, seems like we are in trouble now, Naruto said. Follow me, the teacher said. She led them to her office and started to lecture them. Nothing, and I repeat, nothing allows a student to walk around at night. Malfoy stood apart from the group, smiling at their lecture, and as punishment for your action, 50 points will be taken. 50, Harry exclaimed in disbelief. Each, she stated. Naruto stayed calm through this. It's our fault, nothing we can do about it. And to be sure, it will never happen again. All 5 of you will receive detention, she continued. Naruto smiled at that while Malfoy took a puzzled expression. Excuse me, Professor, perhaps I heard you wrong? I thought you said the 5 of us. No, you heard me correctly, Mr. Malfoy. You see, as honorable your intentions were, you too were out of bed after hours. You will join your classmates in detention. Malfoy was mortified at that as the others smiled at that. The next night they were led by Filch toward Hagrid's house while he talked about old punishment methods, all more horrible than the last one, and Naruto suspected some of them to be completely invented to scare them. When they arrived they saw Hagrid coming out. You will be serving detention with Hagrid tonight, Filch started. He's got a little job to do. Inside the dark forest, when they were close enough they saw the sad look on Hagrid's face. Oh good God, man, you're still not on about that dragon, are you? Norbert's gone. Dumbledore sent him in a colony in Romania. Well, that's good, no? He will be with his own kind, Hermione said to calm him. But what if he doesn't like Romania? What if the other dragons are mean to him? Filch rolled his eyes as Hagrid complained. Oh, for God's sake, pull yourself together, man. You're going in the forest after all. Got to have your wits about, yeah? The forest? I thought that was a joke, Malfoy exclaimed. We can't go in there, students aren't allowed. And there they heard a howl in the distance. Werewolves, Naruto sighed loudly. And since when detentions are supposed to be pleasant? And there is more than werewolves in this forest, I can assure you of that, Filch smiled. You seem to know your subject well, huh? Well then, have a good night, he said before walking away. Hagrid led them in the forest for a while until they found something on the floor. It was a shining silver liquid, and it smelled of blood. Hagrid, what is that? Harry asked. What we are here for, he answered. See that? That's unicorn blood. Naruto froze in shock, and he could understand why. After the boy got this close to unicorns, he had all the rights to be angered at whatever attacks them. I found one dead a few weeks ago, and this one got hurt bad by something. Naruto tensed up, all his senses in full alert. So it's our job to find the poor beast. Ron, Hermione, you come with me. Okay, Ron weakly said. Harry, Malfoy, you go with Naruto. Okay, then I get Fang, Malfoy bargained. Fine, but just so you know, he's a bloody coward. Malfoy's face fell before Harry and him looked at the dog, but Naruto was at the end of his patience. Then let's move already, he exclaimed. The others, except Hagrid, looked at him in shock, not expecting this outburst. But he was already on his way and Harry and Malfoy had to run a bit to catch up to him. They walked for a while, and Malfoy complained all the way. Wait till my father hears about this. This is servant stuff. That's enough, Naruto exclaimed, making Malfoy jump a bit. I swear to every god that can exist that if you don't stop complaining I'm going to knock you out, am I clear? If I didn't know better, I would say he is scared, Harry said. Scared, Potter? Malfoy scoffed at that, or tried to, at least. They walked for a while until they heard a panicked neigh. Naruto didn't think twice to ran toward the source of the noise, Harry, Malfoy and Fang following closely behind. What they saw filled everyone with fear except for Naruto, as he only felt hatred at the scene, a black-caped figure that seemed to glide making its way toward a wounded unicorn. Naruto recognized this unicorn. It was one of the young ones, and its back was wounded. Malfoy let out a scream as he ran away with Fang, making the cloaked figure turn their way, and when it did Harry put a hand on his scar as he moaned in pain. The caped creature barely had the time to dodge Naruto's attack. He was covered in blue chakra and the ground where the creature stood was slightly cracked. Naruto had a look of pure fury on his face. Just so you know, I will kill you for what you did to this unicorn. Naruto charged at the creature again, but it dodged, although barely again. But this time there was a green ray of light that made its way toward Naruto and hit him. When Naruto was touched by the curse, he felt all his pressure points closing instantly. What is that? He thought before everything went black. Naruto was falling into darkness. There was nothing around, no lights, no noises, just the dark. Where am I? He asked weakly as he kept falling. So dark, so cold, so lonely. He then began to panic, moving around in the darkness, but nothing changed. He was still falling. No, I don't want that. I don't want to be alone anymore. He started to cry. Somebody, help me, he whispered, and a ray of light appeared before it engulfed everything. Naruto suddenly opened his eyes and stood up while screaming, startling Hermione, who was next to him with a tear-stained face. Before she could react, Naruto buried his head on her shoulder and cried. She stood still for a moment, not knowing what to do, before she hugged him tightly, as if she was scared that he would disappear if she let go of him. When Naruto calmed down, he noticed they were still in the forest, and apart from Hermione there was Hagrid, Ron, Harry, who all had tears on their face as well as a look of pure happiness, a centaur, and the wounded unicorn, that now had a new cut on one of its front leg. And that's when he noticed the taste in his mouth, the taste of blood. He immediately let go of Hermione and touched his mouth. When he looked at his hand, he saw that there was indeed some blood on it, silver one. What happened? He asked shakenly. When you charged that thing, it threw a curse at you and you died, Harry started nervously. I guess that much, but what happened after? Why am I alive? I don't really know. After you died, this thing went close to me, but Firenze, the centaur, sent it away. When it was gone, the others came and the unicorn used its horn to cut its leg and made you drink some of its blood. And here we are. But is that even possible? To bring somebody back from death, I mean? Naruto asked in disbelief. It is if one use a unicorn's blood, but that person will live a cursed life, a half-life, started Firenze, but not in your case because this unicorn gave you its blood willingly. What? A unicorn can save one life that was lost recently by giving willingly its blood. But this is a sacred pact. This unicorn just announced to every creature that it thought that you were worthy of being given a second chance in life. The centaur explained, making Naruto look at the unicorn in shock. You saved me? He smiled. Thank you. The unicorn bowed its head before it walked away. Firenze said goodbye before following the unicorn. So, you are sure you are all right, Naruto? Hagrid asked. Yeah, I think maybe not, he said as fell unconscious when the tiredness of coming back to life came to him. When he woke up, he found himself in the hospital wing. Just great, he though. Shut up, you scared me to death when you collapsed again, damn brat. Kurama? I'm glad to hear you again. I was worried when you were silent after I came back to life. It was you who asked that I refrain from talking when you are in a conversation as to not give you headache. Come on, there's an exception to everything you know, Naruto said in exasperation. They could have talked longer, but they were interrupted by Dumbledore coming in the room. When the old wizard saw the whiskered student awake, he smiled. I'm glad to see you awake, Naruto, he said kindly, but Naruto had some questions and there was no way they will go unanswered. Thanks, but I have some questions. First, how long was I unconscious? A week. What? Naruto shouted, getting the attention of Madame Pomfrey. God, you are finally awake and already shouting? If this continues, I will have to force you to leave, Professor, she warned Dumbledore. No, I'm sorry. I was just a bit shocked that I was out for 1 week, Naruto apologized, making her go back to her office. Okay, next question. Is the Philosopher's Stone well guarded? That took the headmaster by surprise. How do you know about it? Not relevant to your answer? Dumbledore sighed. Yes, it is, and before you ask, no, we have no idea who was the one that attacked you, and there doesn't seem to be any attacks of unicorns anymore. This time it was Naruto that sighed, but in relief. Now you might not like the fact that you missed the final exams, so you will have to catch up when you are ready. Naruto's sweat dropped at that. Because of the exams, Naruto didn't have the time to see his friends. All he did all day long were written exams, which he did fairly well in his opinion, and practical exams where he nearly aced all of them. It was late at night when he finished, and he was making his way toward the common room when he sharply turned around with a kunai drawn, and in a fighting stance, making three voices gasp from seemingly nowhere. Harry, Ron and Hermione then suddenly appeared in front of him, Harry holding a thin cape. Glad to see you awake, Naruto, he said with a smile, but how did you know we were behind? The smell. They stared at him in shock. Do we really smell that bad? Ron asked, making Naruto chuckle. Not at all, my straightened senses are just a bonus from having Kurama sealed in me for so long. But where are you going that needs you to conceal yourselves? They looked nervously around them. We are going to take the stone before Snape. So the thief is trying this tonight, huh? I'm going with you. They looked at him worriedly. But you just woke up from, started Hermione, but was interrupted by Naruto's glare. I got plenty of rest, and there is no way in hell that I am going to let my friends risk their lives without doing anything, he said seriously before making his way toward the room where Fluffy was in, closely followed by his friends in the invisibility cloak. When they arrived, they saw that the giant dog was asleep, a harp gently playing a tune. We're late, Naruto stated. The others went to open the trap and Harry was saying something, but Naruto wasn't paying attention as he noticed the music stopped, and Fluffy was slowly waking up. Not good at all, as he silently walked toward his friends to suddenly shove them in the hole with him. They screamed as they fell but landed on a plant that stopped them. Above them the three-headed giant dog was barking violently. What the hell was that for? Ron exclaimed. The fall that might harm you or the giant dog that will kill you, your choice? Okay, I didn't say anything, thanks. No problem. Yes, we have a problem, look at you. Hermione shouted as she went away from the plant that was starting to bind them and making its way toward their throats. Well shit, Naruto said, devil's snare next to him. Ron was panicking. Great, it's really good to know what will kill me, he shouted. Shut up, I'm trying to remember how to kill it, Hermione said. Well, hurry up, I can't breathe, Harry stated as the plant was tightening around him. Devil's snare, what did Professor Sprout say? It likes the dark and the damp. So light a fire, Naruto and Harry both said together. Yes, of course, but there's no wood, Hermione cried, wringing her hands. Have you gone mad? Are you a witch or not? Ron shouted. Oh, right, she said as whipped out her wand, waved it, muttered something and sent a jet of blue flames at the plant. In a matter of seconds, the plant loosened its grip as it cringed away from the light and warmth, letting the boys free. Lucky you two pay attention in herbology, Harry said. Yeah, and lucky Harry and Naruto doesn't lose their heads in a crisis. There's no wood, honestly, Ron added. As they walked deeper, all they could hear apart their footstep was the water dripping from the walls. They soon came into a room with nothing except a ray of moonlight at the center of the room and a door at the back. Naruto didn't like this. Stay behind me, he said, it's too calm, there have to be some kind of trap somewhere. They walked cautiously, but when they got close to the middle of the room a shadow took form in the ray of light. It was a perfect replica of Naruto but in shadow form, and it took a kunai out as went in a fighting stance, not moving. So this is as far as we go, huh? Naruto stated calmly. Harry, Ron, Hermione, go on, I'll catch up to you when I'm done with this. What? They exclaimed, we can't leave you like that. And what? You're going to let someone just steal the stone? If that happens then it's over and you all know it, so just go, he snapped, making his friends obey reluctantly. As they tried to pass, the shadow rushed to attack but was intercepted by Naruto. What are you doing? Run! They started to run as the shadow tried to run after them but stopped to dodge an attack from Naruto. Sorry, but you will have to play with me, he said with a grin as his friends passed the door. The shadow and Naruto stared at each other for a moment before they charged at each other. They exchanged blows at great speed for a while until Naruto managed to slice a bit the shadow's cheek. At the same moment he felt pain in his right cheek and he jumped away. Did it touch me at the same time? He asked himself as he touched his cheek to see no blood. His eyes widened in realization. You're freaking kidding me? This shadow has the same fighting strength than me and I will feel the damage I put on it. Bloody hell, this is going to be annoying, he thought before he charged once again. They traded blows until Naruto took his wand out. Incendio, he shouted as a jet of orange and red sparks went out of his wand and hit the shadow on its left shoulder, burning it. Naruto felt the pain of being burnt until the shadow easily set the fire off. This bastard, to just put out the fire as if it was nothing. Naruto, if my guess is correct, this is a shadow created by magic. Thanks, Captain Obvious. My point is, it looks like it is made to imitate your level in physical and magical aspect, but magicians can't use chakra, so Naruto's eyes widened as the realization hit him. Of course, he won't be able to use jutsus. Thanks, Kurama. Just what will you do without me? The fox mumbled as Naruto quickly made hand signs. Fire style. Big fireball, he shouted as an enormous fireball came out of his mouth, only to dissipate when it collided with a similar ball of fire. You're freaking telling me it can also use jutsus that use chakra? Just what the hell is going on? He mentally exclaimed as he tried this jutsu again, only to meet the same result. They fought for a while, both throwing spells, weapons and jutsus to the other, but the shadow was still at top strength while Naruto slowly grew tired. God damn it! Calm down, Naruto. I think I know what's going on, Kurama said as Naruto dodged several shurikens. Then what are you waiting for? It is made by magic to imitate you and all your techniques, even chakra-based ones, but it can only use magic to imitate them. So basically, when you use jutsus, even if they counter each other, you actually have a slight edge. Naruto grinned at that. Great, now I know how I'll beat this bastard, he exclaimed as he threw 3 kunais that the clone blocked, before he activated the exploding tags on them. The pain he felt in his left arm told him he managed to harm the shadow. He then took advantage of the smoke created by the blast to gather his chakra in his arm. The smoke cleared, revealing the shadow as Naruto finished his preparations. On his right arm there were 2 spiral of chakra, one red and one blue, spun in opposite directions. Try to copy this. Naruto taunted as the 2 spirals turned into flames, surrounding his arm completely, burning him. The shadow answered to his taunt by doing the same, increasing Naruto's pain before they charged each other one last time. Double spiral. Dragon's fist, he exclaimed as their attacks collided, the sheer power shaking the ground near them as flames rages around them in a battle for dominance. The shadow resisted, but it couldn't keep up with the original jutsu. Naruto just gave one last push, breaking the shadow's attack and consume it entirely in flames. Naruto screamed in pain as he felt the feeling of being consumed by flames, and he fell unconscious with several cuts all over his body and his right arm deeply burned. When he woke up in the hospital wing, there were only 2 things in his mind. Not again, and bloody hell, it hurts. Every part of his body hurt like hell. He was feeling as if he was roasted alive. He groaned a bit. Naruto? He heard a girl's voice ask. Hermione? He sat up and sure enough, Hermione was there. Before he could say anything, she hugged him, making him blush. Hermione, what are you? Shut up, she ordered. I'm just happy to see you alive. Seriously, what's with you and your recklessness? He awkwardly stroked her back to calm her down. Well, let's just say I'm happy you weren't in here when I fought. She stood up and looked into his eyes. Why? This shadow, it was made to imitate all of the abilities of somebody. It could use all of my spells, was as physically strong as me, and could even imitate my ninja techniques. Basically, if any of you were here, I would have to defend you, and that would have probably killed us all. Wait, it could imitate techniques requiring chakra? But I fought that. Yeah, it's exactly what I said, imitate but not recreate. It could only use magic, so it used it to imitate those techniques but couldn't keep up with the originals. Magic cannot be used the same way than chakra after all. But more importantly, how long was I unconscious? You are not asking if we managed to get the stone? She asked in confusion. Naruto smiled. Simple logic, if you failed, we would have been dead, so yeah, I'm not asking something I already know. Hermione looked at him in shock. He speaks of death so easily. She cleared her throat. You and Harry were unconscious for 3 days. Ah, you answered my next question. Where's Harry? He woke up before you. In fact, it is nearly the end of your feast. Naruto sighed in relief. I made it in time, he said with a grin, making Hermione and Kurama to sweat drop. After they talked a bit, mainly about how lucky Naruto was to be able to heal this fast, a fact that he couldn't thank Kurama enough for it. Hermione then took her out of the hospital wing to bring him out of the feast, even though they had to fight a bit with Madame Pomfrey for this. When they finally entered the Great Hall, students were already sitting down in the hall decorated in Slytherin colors. Naruto spoke with his friends while waiting for the feast to start, and when Dumbledore arrived, everyone fell silent. Another year gone, he said cheerfully. Naruto didn't really pay attention to his speech until he talked about the house cup. Now, as I understand it, the House Cup here needs awarding and the points stand thus. In 4th place, Gryffindor, with 262 points. In 3rd, Hufflepuff, with 352. Ravenclaw have 426 and Slytherin, 472. A storm of cheering and stamping broke out from the Slytherin table. Yes, yes, well done Slytherin, said Dumbledore. However, recent events must be taken into account. The room went very still and Naruto smiled as he saw the Slytherin smiles fade a little. Ahem, Dumbledore started. First, to Mr. Ronald Weasley. Ron went purple in the face. For the best played game of chess Hogwarts has seen in many years, I award Gryffindor House 50 points. Gryffindor cheers nearly raised the bewitched ceiling. Percy could be heard praising his younger brother. When they were silent again, Dumbledore continued. Second, to Miss Hermione Granger. For the use of cool logic in the face of fire, I award Gryffindor House 50 points. Hermione buried her face in her arms. Naruto could smell her tears but let her alone as he knew they were tears of joy. Third, to Mr. Naruto Uzumaki. For never hesitating to protect his friends even if it have to consume him, I award Gryffindor House 50 points. Again the Gryffindor members cheered loudly, praising him and some of them giving him friendly slap on his back. Fourth, to Mr. Harry Potter. The room went deadly quiet. For pure nerve and outstanding courage, I award Gryffindor House 60 points. The din was deafening, especially for Naruto. Those you could add up while yelling themselves hoarse knew that Gryffindor now had the exact same points than the Slytherins. Now if only Dumbledore had given Harry just one more point. Dumbledore raised his hand. The room gradually fell silent. Even though it takes a great deal of courage to stand up to your enemy, it takes even more to stand up to your friends. I therefore award 10 points to Mr. Neville Longbottom. When he finished, all hell broke loose. Or at least that was what Naruto thought as he cheered for Neville while praying that he won't go deaf after that. Neville disappeared under a pile of people hugging him as the Slytherins looked horrified, which mean Dumbledore continued, we need a little change in decoration. He clapped his hands. In an instant, the green hangings became scarlet and the silver became gold. The huge Slytherin serpent vanished and a towering Gryffindor lion took its place. Naruto saw Snape shake McGonagall's hand with a horrible fake smile and he took in the scene in front of him as much as he could, for he knew that this instant in the Great Hall would be one of his best memory in his life. When the exam's results were out, Naruto and his friends were happy to find that they all passed, Hermione having the top marks, closely followed by Naruto. Even Neville passed, a fact that he praised the young wizard of to give him more confidence in himself. And finally the time of going came. All students got a letter reminding them that they shouldn't use magic in their holiday, but Naruto also received another letter authorizing him to use his spells due to his circumstances. He said goodbye to his friends at the train station before he was sent home via a port key. His friends didn't know, but he will have another exam this summer, the Chunin exam, and he couldn't wait to show his village how much he changed. After a now familiar and weird port key travel, Naruto arrived in the Hokage's office with all his stuff and his trusted phoenix Amaterasu. Hiruzen smiled when he saw his surrogate grandson appear in front of him wearing the white t-shirt, black sweatshirt, and blue jeans he had when he departed to Hogwarts. Welcome back, Naruto, he said with a warm smile that Naruto shared. I'm home. Simple words, but for Naruto, as an orphan, it meant a lot. So, what happened while I wasn't here, old man? Well, quite a lot actually. Your team was stuck doing D-ranked missions because you weren't there and I lost count of the number of times they tried to get me to tell them where you were. Naruto chuckled. I'm so gonna get killed by them for this. I wouldn't think that. In fact, your prolonged absences worries them a bit. They do? He asked in shock while the old ninja chuckled at his reaction. Of course, it was more evident on your pink-haired teammate, but even the Uchiha at least wondered where you go every time. Although I fear it's more because they want to do C-ranked missions than because they miss you. Naruto smiled sadly. Yeah, I already know that they don't like me. Well, except for our sensei, the only one that appreciates me and my team is a pervert. Just how creepy can it be? Hiruzen laughed loudly at that. True, but they aren't the only ones that wondered where you went. I recall the young Tenten asked about your whereabouts. She did? He asked in surprise. He knew Tenten from the time he was at the orphanage. The 1-year-older girl always helped and supported him despite the staff that was doing all they could to separate them, that they succeeded in throwing him out when he was 5 years old. Since then they didn't have a chance to meet up. Even at the academy the teachers, warned by the orphanage staff, always found a way to stop the two of them to meet up. Basically it was years since the last time he saw his surrogate older sister. What team is she in? Naruto asked. Team 9 is currently training at their training ground, and don't worry about your baggage. I will have someone bring them to your home, he said while he wrote something on a piece of paper that he gave him, and here's your new address. Naruto's eyebrow rose slightly at that. I suppose the villagers had a party at my old apartment. The old Kage's face was shadowed as he answered. They thought that it was a good idea to warm themselves with a big fire, The fools must have hoped that you will leave if they did this. I already arrested those that did this. On another note, it gave me the opportunity to give you a new apartment. A bigger and nicer apartment paid by those same people as an apology," he finished with a bright chuckle that Naruto shared. "The civilian council must have gone bald from that," Naruto said, barely containing his laughter. "They nearly did. And you don't have to worry about it being burnt since it's in the ninja blocks. And your new neighbors might be too much for them." "What do you mean by that?" Naruto asked, but the Hokage just winked at him. "Now you should go or you will miss your friend." Naruto was going to go but stooped to ask a last question. "And for the you-know-what announcement?" Sarutobi smiled. "The authorities of both worlds made contact and talked about the different issues, and your particular case. I will tell you the details later, but I assure you that the public will know before the Chunin exam." Naruto nodded before he went out of the office. He walked in the direction of training ground number 9, with the usual glares and occasional insults that he strangely noticed were a bit less oppressive, but just a little, so he shrugged it off. When he arrived, he saw Team 9 training and decided to wait and observe. The team was composed of their Jonin sensei Might Guy, a muscular man with a bowl haircut, huge eyebrows and wearing a bright green spandex. There was also a mini guy named Rock Lee that looked and wore the same thing, a dark brown hair guy with completely pale eyes, sign he was a Hyuga, called Negi, and wearing a khaki shirt, brown pants, blue shinobi sandal, and had bandages wrapped around his right arm and leg. And finally the last member of the team, Tenten, dark brown hair and eyes. She wears her hair in Chinese-style buns on either side of her head with short fringed bangs falling on her forehead protector, a pink, sleeveless Chipao-style blouse with red trimmings, dark green pants, and blue shinobi sandals. Naruto looked as the group spared in groups of 2, Lee versus Guy and Negi versus Tenten. Lee and Guy were only using pure taijutsu, but it wasn't this fight that interested Naruto. He looked at Negi and Tenten and saw she had trouble trying to keep her distance against Negi. She threw weapons after weapons at an incredible rate, but Negi deflected them very easily with the help of his Byakugan, and it wasn't long before he managed to go at close range and finish the fight. Coincidentally, Guy and Lee finished their spar at the same time. It was then that they noticed him. Well, that Lee, Negi, and Guy noticed him as Tenten was busy picking up her numerous weapons from the ground. "Hello, why did you come here, young man?" their sensei asked energetically, making Naruto cringe slightly at his loud voice. I just came to see Tenten. It's been years since we last saw each other after all," he answered calmly. Tenten gasped when she turned to look at him. "Naruto, is that you?" He smiled sheepishly while rubbing the back of his head. "It's been a while, huh, Tenten-ne-san?" Lee's jaw fell at that and Negi raised an eyebrow while Tenten quickly ran toward Naruto and brought him in a bone-crushing hug. "Sister?" Lee exclaimed in shock, just as loud as his sensei. "Tenten, you didn't tell me that you supported a younger brother with your flame of youth," Guy shouted, which Naruto started to assume was normal for him. "What the hell is the flame of youth?" Naruto whispered to Tenten, who broke the hug. "No idea. Most of the time it doesn't make any sense," she answered in a whisper. She took a step back and, ignoring perfectly her team behind her, examined Naruto's appearance. "You look good, Naruto. What happened to the orange eyesore I often heard about?" Naruto looked embarrassed. "Well, I still have it and wear it." "You can't be serious?" "I only saw it from far away, but even then I found it horrible." "And seriously, bright orange for a ninja? Do you want to wear a kill me sign with it?" she said in disbelief mixed with slight exasperation before she turned toward the Jonin. "Guy-sensei, can I have the rest of the day off? I know training is important, but it's been such a long time since we saw each other." Guy grinned and shot a thumb up. "No worries, I know how bright your flames of youth shines when you train, so you can go and catch the lost time with your youthful younger brother," he exclaimed. Tenten thanked him before she quickly dragged Naruto away. They walked for a while, Tenten talking about what her life was like since the day Naruto was kicked out of the orphanage. She was in the orphanage until she was adopted by Higurashi Tatsuhiro, a renowned weapon maker, became a genin, and decided to become a great kunoichi. Naruto was happy that even though it has been years, their relationship didn't really change. "And you? What happened to you after you were out of the orphanage?" Naruto started to sweat a bit, wondering what he should tell her, but he recovered soon enough. "Well, I lived in the streets for a little while." "How long?" she asked sternly. "Approximately 1 month," he answered wearily. She had a shocked look on her face. "How the hell could they do this to you? You were just a kid, god damn it!" she nearly shouted. Naruto put a hand on her shoulder to calm her, even if it didn't really work. "I have a lot of things I want to tell you, but it will have to wait until we are in my new apartment." "New?" She asked in confusion, "What happened to your old one?" "The villagers were cold," he simply said, and as soon as the word escaped him he felt killing intent coming from Tenten, all of it directed towards the villagers around them. Naruto tried to calm her down, saying that his apartment was barely better than an old dump and this accident gave him a nicer apartment for free. They talked for a while, mostly Tenten, as Naruto couldn't say out in the streets that he was a wizard. He had planned to tell everything to Tenten as he still considered her as his older sister, and as such deserved to know all of his secrets, even if she might never speak to him again. They arrived in front of a big building painted in light blue, the ninja apartments. Naruto led Tenten to his apartment, the number 305, and opened the door. The apartment wasn't very big, but for Naruto it was enormous, and it was clean. They stood in the little entryway. In front of them was the living room with a wood table and 4 chairs. At its left was the kitchen, a bathroom at its right, and a hallway with 2 doors that Naruto guessed were bedrooms. Naruto's baggage lay in a corner of the living room with Amaterasu perched on his suitcase. When she saw Naruto, she immediately flew to his shoulder and rubbed her head against him. Tenten looked in amazement at the phoenix as Naruto petted it. "I never saw a bird this beautiful. What is it?" "A phoenix," he answered as he went to sit down on a chair, motioning her to do the same. Once she sat down, she continued, "No, for real, what is this bird?" "I'm not joking," he answered seriously, making her look at him in disbelief. Naruto, I'm pretty sure they are just legends," she said with worry in her eyes that made Naruto chuckle, but before he could answer he heard a knock on his door. He opened it only to see a huge snake in front of him. He instinctively jumped back and threw some shuriken that he soaked in a paralyzing poison. The shuriken didn't miss their target, and the snake immediately fell on the ground, unable to move. Naruto took a kunai and was ready to kill the snake when it disappeared in a puff of smoke, the shuriken falling on the ground. "Not bad, kid, you passed," said a voice he recognized instantly, and his eyes widened. "Anko ne-san!" he exclaimed with a bright smile as she showed herself at the door with a smirk on her face. Naruto knew Anko since he was thrown out of the orphanage. When the Hokage found this, he assigned an Umbu squad to protect him, and she was one of them. She often came to keep him company when he felt lonely, and he considered her as family. "Hey there, kid, it's been a while since I last saw you. Where the hell were you?" Naruto motioned for her to come and sit down, which she complied. He went to sit opposite them, Amaterasu on his shoulder, and stared straight at them. "What do you know about magic?" "It's just a fairy tale for kids," they both replied at the same time with the same look of confusion on their faces. Naruto mentally braced himself. "What if I tell you it's not? And let me finish before you start panicking about my sanity," he said when he saw the look in their eyes. He then started to explain everything that happened to him from the day the owl brought him the acceptance letter to today, and punctuated it with concrete evidence by using a few harmless spells. At the end of his explanation they had a dumbfounded look on them. "Wow, that is bloody insane," Anko finally said before she smirked. "So my little Ototo is a wizard, heh? I always knew you were weird." "Nei-san," he exclaimed in exasperation before he glanced at a still shocked Tenten. "Well, that is a lot to take in," she admitted, "but I guess Anko-san is right. You were always weird," she said with a playful smile that made Naruto whine a bit. "Not you too," they laughed at him, and when they calmed down there was another knock at the door. Naruto opened it to see the Hokage. "Ah, Ji-san." "Hello again, Naruto. I see you have guessed over," he stated as he sat on a chair, followed by Naruto, while Anko and Tenten, startled by the Hokage's casual appearance, were standing up to greet him with a bow. Seeing this, Hiruzen chuckled and dismissed their formal greeting with a wave of his hand. "There is no need to act this formal here," they sat down reluctantly. "They know about my particular situation," Hiruzen raised an eyebrow in amusement. "And I thought you were good to keep secrets. You already planned to reveal this to all the elemental country, and I don't want to keep any secret from them," he responded seriously, making the others smile. "I suppose I shall tell you about the situation between the wizard and ninja worlds and your new privileges," he started as he took a serious tone. "First, as you can guess, it wasn't easy to keep things from blowing up at the government's meeting. A majority of the wizards think we are barbarians because of our very different living style and our unfortunately frequent wars, and ninjas will tend to think they are lazy fools and hypocrites incapable to defend themselves, as proven by their recent civil war." "Whoa, must have been more of a time bomb than a meeting," Naruto stated. "Indeed it was at the beginning, but we finished by accepting the fact that we are from really different backgrounds. That said, we talked about how we could create peace between our two worlds until we finally talked about your case. To say it was a difficult subject would be an understatement. The wizards wanted to, and I quote, take an innocent child from a path of barbary. You can guess that we didn't really appreciate that," he said as he saw the shocked and angry look on Naruto's face. "Now, After a long negotiation about what would be the best for you, Albus, and I finally managed bring them to let you choose your path. Hence the privileges that I mentioned. You are a special case, someone between the ninja and the wizard world, and it would be foolish to make you choose a side, so we decided that you will have a special status in both worlds. What do you mean by special status? Naruto asked. Because of ninjas' frequent wars and fight for power and ambitious wizard government, we decided to give you an ambassador status in both worlds. Naruto, Enko, and Tenten gaped at that. What now? An ambassador, his surrogate grandfather said with a slight chuckle. You are a link between the two worlds, and as such laws will have some changes. After all, we can have you in a wizard's prison if you had to kill someone in a mission, and you can use your spells despite the fact you are a student in the wizard world. But you are not exempt of laws. You are a ninja of Konoha, and as such all our laws applies to you. The wizard's laws just have to adjust itself to you, not the other way round. You also don't have to worry about your security since you will be protected by the entire elemental country and the wizard world. Wait, if I'm protected by everyone, I won't be able to consider it only as a ninja of Konoha, Naruto said in panic, making Hiruzen sigh. That's right, Naruto. You can't support only a ninja village, but you can take missions here. It's just that you can't take a mission that tells you to kill a ninja from another village. But you will also be able to go to any hidden villages you wish and take missions in them. You will also be the mediator between ninjas and wizards. He finished. Naruto sighed as he buried his face in his hands. This is a huge mess, he said, earning concerned glances from Enko and Tenten. I know it will be a difficult role to endure, started the old ninja, but it is an opportunity to make our two worlds to work together. It is a chance to bring peace, and not only between the two worlds. I believe that one day you could bring peace to the elemental nations, he said with a smile. You really think I could do this? Naruto asked. Not now, but I know that one day you will be able to, Naruto smiled. Thanks, GG. Hiruzen then got up. Well, then I should be going. I have my eternal enemy to fight, also known as paperwork. Naruto chuckled and said goodbye. He talked with his two guests for the rest of the day, getting teased along the way on various subjects before they left, letting Naruto to tidy up his new apartment. It's been 1 week since he was back in his village. A week he spent training as much as he could with his two teammates that seems to hate his guts, especially after the Hokage announced to the whole village about magic and his particular position. Now the villagers weren't pleased by it as it meant they couldn't attack the demon anymore, a feeling shared by a minority of ninjas. This also meant he could use magic freely in public, a fact that infuriated his teammates. Sasuke hated him because the dropout had a power that should be his, as only he would be able to use it at its full potential, and Sakura hated him because Naruto, of all people, had a power that should belong to her, Sasuke-kun, and that he had a special social status that protected him. Both totally ignoring the fact that it wasn't Naruto's fault, and that he never asked for any of this. At the end of the week they discovered their sensei put them in the Chunin exam, but on their way toward where the first part of the exam will be held they were called out by someone about a year older than them wearing a green spandex, Rock Lee. Naruto was internally glad that Tenten and Enko dragged him to buy some decent clothes. He was now wearing a black jacket with the hood down, black pants, and a burned orange face mask that will cover the bottom part of his face up to his nose if he put it up. No matter what, he will still have some orange on him somewhere. While he reflected on this, the green-wearing Genin was walking toward them, more specifically him. Good to see you, Uzumaki. Naruto, he greeted energetically. Hi, Lee. What do you want? I heard from Tenten that you were a hard worker like me, and I wanted to test my flame of youth with yours, he exclaimed loudly, making Sakura look at him weirdly and Sasuke grit his teeth. If you want a challenge, then you shouldn't ask this dropout. He wouldn't last a second against me, he sneered. Lee looked at him in disdain. If there's one thing I am confident with is my ability to sense my opponent's worth, and I'm sure Naruto, a hard worker, will be far more challenging than somebody like you who doesn't put much effort in his training because he think is the best, he answered bluntly, annoying the Uchiha, who then tried to punch Lee, only for him to dodge and punch him hard in the face, sending him flying a few meters away. What the hell was that? He shouted. Tell me what jutsu you used and how I couldn't see it with my Sharingan, Sasuke ordered. It was just pure taijutsu, answered Naruto with a sweat drop before turning toward Lee. I'm sorry, but if we might be late for the exam, but I will gladly fight you after the exam, or during it if the occasion present itself. Lee had a large grin on his face. Yash, I will await the occasion to burn our flames of youth in a most youthful spar, he exclaimed before running away, probably toward his teammates. What the hell was that? Sakura asked in a sweat drop, before being angry. And who is this guy to think he is better than Sasuke-kun? Naruto resisted the urge to facepalm, choosing to go in the building instead. When he arrived, he noticed a group of people standing in front of room 301, The room they were supposed to go to, but something didn't add up. They were not at the right floor. Naruto planned to calmly walk away, but it proved itself impossible when Sasuke arrogantly called out the genjutsu placed on the room, allowing people who clearly weren't qualified to pass the exam to take it either way. "Are you an idiot?" shouted a kunoichi Naruto knew too well. That was obviously part of the test. If they couldn't tell it was a genjutsu, they don't stand a chance in the exam. She scolded the Uchiha. Before anything could be told, Naruto intervened. "I'm sorry for the comportment of my teammate," he said to the two genin guarding the door to the false test room. "No need to worry," Naruto said one of them as a puff of smoke revealed him as a chunin. "Things like that happens from time to time," said his colleague, as he too reappeared in a puff of smoke. They were two chunin that knew Naruto well, as they often had to chase him after some of his pranks. Naruto turned toward his teammates and Tenten's team. "So, I suppose we should go before we are late?" he half-asked, half-stated before going. The first part of the exam was emotionally challenging, to say the least. It was a written test with a man named Ibiki as a proctor, a man he knew from Anko, as he was her superior in the TNI division, so he knew that this man was a master of all types of tortures. After he managed to inspire the rest of the genins, that was ready to give up as did many before them, the proctor of the second test presented herself. A bundle of cloth broke the window only to be pinned open by several kunais, showing the incredible Mitarashi "Anko is here" written on it before the woman in question appeared a second after. She presented herself energetically, making everyone's sweat drop except Naruto, who just had a smile on his face. A smile he kept even as the genins were brought in front of a huge forest behind tall wire fences. "Welcome to the stage for the second test, Training Ground 44, also known as the Forest of Death," Anko said with a smirk that Naruto mirrored, attracting the attention of Sakura and Tenten, who was nearby. "Why are you smiling, you idiot?" she asked harshly, only to have a kunai next to her throat, courtesy of Tenten. "Don't insult him," she ordered coldly, "but I also want to know why you were smiling like that." "Well, I've been in this forest a few times, so I know it quite well," he answered in a whisper. Sakura just stared at him blankly. "If you were here before you were a genin and you went to this wizard school the Hokage told us about, it can't be dangerous," she stated, making Naruto grin evilly. Maybe not." The two kunoichi stared intently at him before Tenten regrouped with her teammates, and Sakura went to her Sasuke-kun while Anko was explaining the test, a survival test with a time limit of 5 days. Each team has one heaven or earth scroll that they have to keep, and they have to steal one of the opposite scroll and go at a tower in the center of the forest in the time limit. 5 days with the risk of being killed by the other teams or the wildlife of the forest. In other words, it will be a test to remember. The doors opened and the teams rushed in. The survival test has begun. What if Naruto was trained in Harry Potter? End here, and thanks for watching my video till the end.